Let's go! Good day to everyone. How y'all doing today? Huh? Woo. Woo. Yeah. Hope everyone's doing well today. How I sound? Am I coming through clear? Can you hear me? Microphone check 1 2. What is this? Welcome to the Wildest Wake Up Show. I'm your host, Sharon Bracey. And every single day, we rebel against remedial rhetoric, and today will be no different. Thank you, Ms. Jalen. Thank you. And just like Ms. Jalen, when I say good day to you, I need you to say it back because I can feel that great productive energy coming through the screen. And every single day we gotta, we making sure that you are not just regurgitating information that you heard from elsewhere, and that we are challenging your own thoughts, and you figured it out yourself, not just because somebody else said it very well. Because we tend to hear this a lot. Men are just women. They're just regurgitating information. They want to talk to what maybe sounds good to other people. Like yesterday, we was having a conversation, and the person wanted to tell me, "Oh, so what is it that you want me to say?" I want you to say your real thoughts, not just say. Be clear, be concise with your thoughts. That's what we need you to be. We need you to be clear and concise with your thoughts. Think them through. Don't just say things. God damn. People just be saying things. So last night, the movie was sold out last night. Everywhere I went, it was sold out. I had to stay up late night because the movie is over 2 hours long. Goddamn. The movie is over 2. Yes, it is. It is every Friday. Don't worry about it. We're gonna open the panel up. No, said Tenray, I will not. You've been whooped. Why you no? So I'm assuming Kim folks seen it. It was very, very visual. It's a loud movie. You definitely is a possibility that you could get a jump scare for sure. Yeah. IMAX, you're gonna definitely enjoy it because it is. I think this movie would do you a disservice if you did not see it in a movie theater, because it is designed for the movies. The sounds, the music, the visualness, the symbolism, everything was designed for it. I think, hey, we might have a new Spike and Samuel Jackson out here. God damn it. I would say Spike and Denzel, but I don't think Denzel and Spike did that many movies together. Well, they probably around the same. They did 3 movies. What up, Byron? Good day to you. Very good. I still have a lot of thoughts about the movie. You said it was the best movie you've seen in a long time. That's pretty. That's a bold statement. Wow, that's good. I think it's probably for sure, 100% for sure. It has to be the best vampire movie I ever seen. That's 100% for sure. Yeah. Yeah, Free Zone Lord. And I also believe that so no, they are absolutely mistaken. Anybody that's saying that is a ripoff from Dusk to Dawn, they are insane. But I could understand that. I could understand why they would say something like that. Because it's set up in a club scene. Hey, what you doing? Stop. Go over there. Sit down. What's your problem? Sit down. What's your issue? So I can understand why they say because it was set up in a club style scenery and all that. But nah, it's not. It's nothing like a Dusted Dawn at all. This is way. Dusted Dawn is I don't know, just a bunch of blood. This was not that. Yeah, Dusted Dawn. It's not even close to Dusted Dawn. Dusted Dawn is horrible compared to this. Absolutely horrible. But it was set up back in the day. Man, I think it was like it checked off a lot of boxes. To be honest, it checked off a lot of boxes. And I stayed up late to watch it. As you can see, I'm a little slow today. God damn it. Barry White says she enjoyed it. You know I'm going to open it up too. But 100% sure it was the best vampire movie I've ever seen. It has so much symbolism, so many great characters. I want to see the other characters. Like it did such a good job. And this is because the movie is based on 24 hours. Like all of this information that we've seen in this movie is basically roughly about a 24-hour span. It was so awesome. It was very well written. It moved along properly, appropriately, where it wasn't too long and drawn out. We didn't have to, man. It was good. It's about relationships. I enjoyed that part of the movie too, about the complexity of relationships, because man, one of because it's twins in it. So one of the twins stacked, like he had a crazy relationship with homegirl. Like so it displayed how toxic relationships work and move, like two toxic people get into with each other and how they be moving, you know what I'm saying? So like it was showing how toxic relationships actually work. So that was really good. An interesting scene. It was very good to see the two actors go back and forth. It was phenomenal how it was directed and written. And then also Smoke, he was more of the business savvy one, a little bit more strong and poised, and he want to get shit done. The other brother was a little bit more loosey good. He's a little bit more toxic and wild. Man, good. It was good, to be honest. But it had a lot of things going on in the movie. A lot. Because it's one of those movies that when you watch a movie like this and you think, damn, this is deeper than I expected, right? And that is Sinners. This ain't just a vampire flick. It's a history lesson. It's a cultural critique and a blues song all rolled in one, right? So you got Jim Crow, you got the KKK, you got the Hoodoo, you got Christianity, you got Native Americans, you got Irish immigrants, you got Chinese Americans, and somehow all of this is connected through music and war. So that was the beauty of it, right? And war is there as well, for sure. It was what they was wild. And then there's the blues player, right? The man who walked down the road, sold his soul to the devil because apparently, talent, it comes with a price tag. Absolutely. And so now Sinners is based in the set of 1932 Mississippi, right? Which means that racism wasn't just alive, it was thriving. Jim Crow was in full effect. The KKK was out there like the worst HOA committee in history. Yo, it was wilding. Like, goddamn, the man bought the property from you. What's the problem? What you talking about, Bubba? What is Bubba talking about? Oh, we're gonna get into it today. And don't worry, the panel will be open very soon. We're gonna just talk about some of the similarities, right? And how the KKK and the HOA committee, how they was coming around and just burning people's houses down, deciding who gets to exist and who doesn't. And in the middle of all this, you got vampires because apparently segregation wasn't enough. Segregation wasn't enough. They said, nah, and we gotta add bloodsuckers in there too. But the vampires isn't just monsters, right? So they were really metaphors. They was a represent. They represent oppression, exploitation, the way the power feed off the weak, uh, and the vampire himself. Damn, I need some water. The vampire himself is Irish, which is very interesting too. That's right, an Irishman in the deep south, singing ballads and luring people into his world. And the oppression ain't just black and white. And so that's why the movie is set up so beautifully, right? So Bubba's saying that the KKK were 100% Democrat. Jim Crow was 100% Democrat. Segregation was 100% Democrat. Look it up. NBA Kylie, you was tripping. But so what does that mean, Bubba? So because back in those times, at 1930s, that all those ideologies was Democrat, what does that mean? I don't even understand what does that mean. That's fine. So back then, in that time, in the 1930s, all of those policies that you brought up, all of those organizations, yes, they were Democrats. But for some reason, for whatever reason, they flipped over and they switched over to Republican. No, it means the people of that time that was Democrats, they were the racists. That's what that means. And somehow throughout the years, it flipped. And now we see what we see today. So yes, back in the days, the Democrats, they had policies that was racist. Yes, and then somehow it switched. What's up, Nay? So yeah, the people have changed, not the political party. So it went once it was like this, and now it's like this. It is what it is. If they started changing their rhetoric, they started changing their rhetoric. I don't get it. I don't know why we got to be so concerned about what they used to do back in 1932 if now they doing something completely different. We have eyes, we have ears, and we could read the writings on the wall. We could see what they all about today. We see who's trying to get rid of all the DEI and this, that, and the third, and trying to get it back to where it's only one group of people being able to succeed in this country. We see it. We act like we don't, but it's all good. And the beauty and DEI is not racist. That's crazy. Yes, the values change is what I was trying to say. FBA. What's up, Natasha? And so the values absolutely flipped and switched. It's crazy. Shout out to Nay. Thank you, Nay. Because I don't even understand like how you can even still say that today. And you know what's crazy? This movie shows how DEI can actually work, right? Because it had all nations in this movie. Like it had everybody in it. It had all nations, all colors and creeds in this goddamn movie. And so Bubba is out here now. You just telling lies for no reason, Bubba. So Trump has not provided more funding to HBCUs than any administration in history. We already broke that down long time ago on this channel. So that is not even close to being true. He did a great job by keeping the things going. However, shout out to Donald Trump for giving the HBCUs a really good amount of money. He did a very good job. Awesome. We are not trying to knock him for it, but we're not going to also lie about it as well. He did not give more than Obama. It is what it is. It's okay. All I am, if he did 2 days ago that I did not see, then hey, you know what I'm saying? If he did, and we could break it down, then we see. But Nate, she put it out there, right? Trump took it from 16 billion down to 500 million. So people get confused with how things like when you start peeling back the onion, you turn this into a cry fest. We wound up seeing what's actually happened versus what people are saying. And like people said that he signed the most money because it looked like it on paper, but when you break down the order that he signed originally, it is not more money. We need more Teddy. It is said that 2 days ago, Donald Trump signed a new executive order for HBCU. Somebody please look it up. Maybe it is. I don't know, but as of right now, for what the information that I have, President Trump has not signed or gave HBCUs the most money. And it's okay, that's just the information. He did sign a bill that gave a lot of money and a lot of funding. That's fine. And it's okay. That's a good point, FBA, Kylie. It's weird, that's for sure. I don't know. And really, it was really and like I said, like so the vampires and things of that nature, it was really more about the vampires was really a representation of oppression, exploitation, right? That's what it's really about, and the way how power feeds off of the weak, right? That's what it's really about. That's what the vampires really was representing. I don't even understand why um and that's the real issues that like so like it's kind of a representation of the goddamn movie as well, right? Is that's what the Irish vampire was trying to do. He was saying, hey, we all just people. I'm just trying to hang out with you. I don't mean no harm, but yet you out there harming us. You want to suck our blood and then act like it's going to be better because you turned us into you. You turned us into a vampire. So now, because you turned me into a vampire, I'm supposed to feel like how you feel. But in real life, it doesn't work. So no, vampires are vampires. Vampires eat on people. That's how they survive. And the movie explains it very well. And that was the thing of the Irishman. Like he didn't care who he turned, whether it was black, white, Spanish, or Indian. He didn't really actually care because now they was all together. They all have the same thoughts. They could all speak the same language. They all have the same feelings. What's up, Otis? Who? And that was the sentiment of the movie. It had so much more to the movie than this goddamn vampires and steaks and garlic and those type of things. And that's why it's probably one of the best vampire movies ever. I don't know if I would say it's a FBA movie because it had everybody in it. But it was just dealing with the information that was happening at the time, and it dealt with a lot of religion, like Hoodoo versus Christianity was very big in this movie as well. So you got Hoodoo, Christianity, Native American spirituality. It was like all tangled up in this movie, and then Hoodoo, is that old school, deep rooted African spiritual practice that survived slavery. It's about power, protection, and knowing that sometimes the church ain't enough. And Christianity, well, Christianity in sinners is complicated. It was very complicated in this movie. So in this movie, it was both salvation and control at the same time in this movie. It was that thing that keeps people hopeful, but also the same thing that keeps them in line. And then you got the Native American, the Choctaw hunters. They were out there trying to take down the vampire because they know what's up. They seen colonization before, and they ain't about to let outsiders just take over their land. It's history repeat itself, but with bangs. There we go. Thank you, Tiff. Appreciate that. And that was the truth of it, right? So that's what it was, very complicated. But if you just watching it for real and you seen how things was playing in and out with it, it was a very complicated story. It was really interesting to see how they intertwine all that in 2 hours and 10 minutes or so. It was good the way how they blended the music with it. It's good. They also had they had the Chinese and the Irish. So let's talk about also how the Irish and the Chinese Americans. So the Irish vampire, he sings the Rocky Road to Dublin song. Is a song about leaving home and facing hardship, right? That's what the song is all about. That's kind of his stick that he kept singing before he ate somebody or turned them over, I guess I should say. And then we had the Chinese. They're in the background, right? They working, they surviving, trying to carve out a life in the country that barely acknowledges them, right? Because America has always been a melting pot, but some folks get burned in the process, right? And the Irish and the Chinese communities have their own histories of oppression, their own struggles, and as sinners, right? They try to wove it into the story. It was very small, but they tried to wove it into the story, showing that suffering ain't exclusive. It's just distributed it differently. This is kind of like how the conversations happen a lot on these conversations. Whenever we start talking about slavery, a lot of times people try to bring in what the Irish went through and what Chinese went through. So this movie did a pretty decent job, a really good job of woven it in and showing how it was just different. Which I think sometimes we have an issue with on YouTube. And when we having these open discussions, a lot of people have a problem with talking about their own personal version of what they believe their families went through versus what is going on in our suffering. Like, it's just different. Right? You had your version, Irish had their version, Chinese had their version, and we had ours. And it is okay, just to be honest about it. But I think this movie did a good job of adding everybody. It was like a DEI movie. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in the Jones. I think it was a great DEI movie, right? So and then it was the music, right? The blues, it was the heartbeat of this movie. It was the thing that connects everyone. The Black musicians, the Irish vampire, the Choctaw hunters, because music is history, it's pain, it's joy, rebellion, and survival. And in Sinners, right, it was that bridge between worlds and timelines. And so, blues is and pretty much is making it like how we always had a concept. Blues is in everything. Blues was born out of struggle. It came from the fields, from the churches, from the streets. And in this movie, it's the thing that brings people together, even when everything else was tearing them apart. I mean, for God's sake, they had wooden nickels. Yeah, Miles could sing his ass off for sure. That's right, Bubba. Shout out to BMU. Yeah, man. I think it did a very good job of trying to bring all these things together. Which assessment, Aaron? Let me see. Let me go back. Maybe I missed it. Well, I'm about to open it up and we could just have the conversation. I want to look through it. Right. So and then we also like the movie, even though it's kind of hard to say who's the main character or not, but let's talk about the blues player, like the man who walked down. Like, so like this story is also, I believe, is loosely based on that old tall tale of the man who walked down the road and sold his soul to the devil, right? This is straight out of the legend Robert Johnson. I don't know if most people know about Robert Johnson, but he is a blues guitarist who supposedly made a deal at the crossroads to become great. And in center of the story plays out because his talent, success, and survival, they all come at a cost. And that's why in the end of the movie, they showed him with that he got his face scarred up from all of this. That was his cost of everything. He's lost family members because of this cost of him being so great. But here's the real question: did he sell his soul, or did he just do what he had to do? Because like in a world where power is stacked against you, sometimes the only way to win is to play the game, right? That's what everybody keep telling me. Sharon, you ain't playing the game right. They keep saying I gotta sign with the devil and just side with all these men and just kick women down and kick the blacks down and all this other nonsense, because that's the only way you could move forward. That you gotta listen to us, right? It's very, makes sense the way how they pushed it out. And maybe like the real horror of sinners is not the vampires, not the KKK, not the war, but the fact that survival always comes with a price. Like Smoke had to deal with the price at the end of the movie, what it cost him to keep the shit going. You know what I'm saying? You know what? I'm gonna drop the link as well. Hey, shout out to the Rumble. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you. What up, Shiesty? And yeah, it was so much stuff. No, I did not see it, Dallas. I guess anybody that did see it, you could tell me all about it. Did he do good? Did he say some crazy things? What happened with him, Dallas? What's up, Trey? Hey, so what happened on it? Did he say some wild things? So there go the link. The link is dropped. So anybody want to have a conversation about all these different things that happened? Man, it was crazy. And I think the takeaway is that Sinner is not just a horror movie. It was a history lesson. It was like wrapped in blood and blues. It was about oppression, survival, and the way music connects us all. It was about war, religion, race, and choices we make to keep going. And most of all, it was about the truth that sometimes real monsters ain't the ones with fangs. And that's the truth of the matter. Welcome to the show, Aaron. Good day, sir. How you doing?
Hey. Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Thanks for asking. How you making out?
I'm doing well. A little tired because I was up late because that movie was sold out crazy last night.
Productivity plus entertainment will wear you out, man. That's a sign of a good life.
Did you get to see the movie yet?
Yeah, I did. You perfectly. We briefly brushed over that about a week ago. My wife took me the Tuesday after my birthday to see it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't want to give away the plot at the time, but yeah, my assessment was pretty much that the movie was adequate. But you even mentioned, coming from me, that's a good thing. I think it's a movie that everyone should see at least once. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a population that want to see it again and again and again. Not me, but I'm not. I would expect that to be the case. And then there'll be others that are satisfied with seeing it once. But it is worth seeing at least once. You won't be disappointed. I think
the connection with KKK and the black men in the Deep South and how that dynamic is, because they only touched on it very briefly, but it was so like the scenes what to me were very iconic, even though it was very small parts in the movie. It was a very big part of the movie at the same time.
Yes, exactly. So that's another thing that I thought cinematically it was a wonder, right? Like the screenplay, the soundtrack was great. The writing was decent, right? It wasn't bad. It wasn't like phenomenal, but the writing was good enough to keep up and tell a story. The acting was pretty good as well. I think Michael B. Jordan. Remember, I was saying if he keeps this up, he's on his way to Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman level of play. If he keeps that, he has to be consistent with performances like this. If he does that, he's headed to the top.
And so,
Just the way he played the two characters.
And so, Aaron, so like it got people that say that this is just a movie. It's not. It don't have anything to do with history. I disagree with that. I think it had a lot to do with history. What's your thought?
Yeah, it is just a movie. It does have a lot to do with history. Here's the thing. They had to use a lot of nuances to tell a tale, and they used history as the canvas to tell the tale. So it's not a historical movie, but it has strong elements from history. And the tale that's being told is, like you said, the man that sold his soul to the devil. I think the protagonist is the guitar playing boy. The antagonist is someone we never see, is the devil. But it manifests through the guitar, through the vampire, through all these. And he never had to sell his soul, or he was redeemed from selling his soul by sacrificing the two most important people in his life, the twins.
Woo.
You see what I mean? But it opens with that boy in the guitar, and it closes with that boy in the guitar. So now we know who the protagonist is.
Did you stay all the way to the end to see the post credits part?
I did. Okay. I did. Yeah, we went to black on the
song. I thought the song was very interesting to choose.
Yes, it was. And I think it brought everything full circle.
Yes, and the reason why I think so, because I was also looking at this little light of mine, right? I also was looking at like maybe that could be talking about the sun as well.
Yes.
It's like it was so much in that song that you could translate it throughout the whole movie about, because he was saying he's gonna let it shine no matter what, because he was gonna get his daddy and the devil at the same time to get his to let his shine, right? So he's going against both of them. And I think that's why, like, because everything was so subtle. So, like, with the racism, with the KKK, the person that was a part of the KKK sold him the goddamn sawmill.
Right.
However, you didn't even know that, but unless you could pick up on the little small microaggressions that they had with each other, right? So they had a lot of,
even then you couldn't be sure.
Right, because he was spitting on him, he was spitting in front of him the way how he was. That was a little micro.
As soon as he walked in, exactly.
And like, so it was showing how people be trying to make you seem crazy because you can recognize a racist from the little things that they do, right?
Yeah.
And they, well, you can't really 100% say it. Like, all right, I hear you.
Yep, exactly.
But I know what I see. I know what I'm seeing. It's kind of like when Scam Likely was trolling yesterday. Like, I understand that you are trying to make it seem as you're not doing what you are doing. You're doing a very good job of masking it, but I see you.
Right.
Like when he finally came inside of the sawmill and he was trying to tell him what's all of this. He's like, hey, what's this on the floor? He knew exactly what it was that was on that floor.
Yeah, and then that's when he spit. Right.
And then he tried to act like, and he spit on the floor to make it seem like, oh, we just be in here and we doing work and I spit tobacco on the floor. But no, that ain't no goddamn tobacco on the floor.
Right. Yep.
And
the whole movie was like that. It was it wasn't obvious. It was nuanced. You don't have to be a genius to figure it out, but you got to pay attention
nowadays, Aaron. It's like you do. Because that's the issue that a lot of people, this is the issue that racism always pushed out there, right? So, yes, we cannot say he was a grandmaster from when he walked in and he got out his car. We cannot say he was a part of KKK where he walked out God's car and then spit on the floor. And then when
not at first.
And then when he was in the saw, man, he said, boy, he started using the word boy.
Right.
But the beauty of it that, his brother picked up right away. It's nothing but grown men and grown money over here.
Yeah.
So like all those small little things, man, like that people don't, people try to ignore in real life at the same time is what my problem is, right? Like when you see these small little transgressions that happen and we can't, and this is why I think a lot of men have a problem when we call them a Rembrandt. When you are speaking like them, I cannot say, oh, well, maybe it's just not you. No. The only way I'm going to stay safe if I treat you as if you're a part of that group, because that's how I'm going to stay safe.
Yeah. I mean, the movie was complex and nuanced enough to keep you fully engaged cover to cover. I don't think it was so complex, so sophisticated to where you got to see it again. Some movies you got to see it again and again and again, and something else unfolds, or it's like something new. I don't think it does that. I think you can get all of the context in one shot, but you got to be awake to do it. You got to be looking at it. You know what I mean?
I think you're doing a disservice. You're somebody that pay attention to a lot of small details that most people.
Well, right.
Because
I will acknowledge that. Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of, and I got you right now, Tiff. I know you want to jump in. A lot of the acting was not even with words. It was with the small things that
100%
was doing with his face.
100%. That's exactly what. Yep.
It was so well. I thought it was so well done at the same time. Like even with the mixed girl that was in the movie.
Yeah.
She did an excellent role. That was, to me, that's probably her breakout role. It showed that she
it was brilliantly casted too. Even the voodoo lady, all of them. It was brilliantly casted.
The Chinese lady, like she was phenomenal. Yeah. I want to see her story. Like, what makes you so aggressive? Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah.
But let me let
the cast was perfect.
Go ahead, Aaron. You want any drop?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You got it.
She's actually the new Hawkeye.
All right, I'm gonna drop in the cloud. I'll be back.
Okay.
I couldn't take Aaron not talking about the beauty of what is an instant fucking classic. Like this movie, if you are a movie head, it plays with genre so well. It's so visually stunning. And then it's black as fuck. Like it's just...
I don't think so.
Oh no. It's so black. It's super black. It's very FBA to the point of you have the brothers, the twins that went to Chicago, tried to make it up north, realized, you know what, we can have something back home. They brought it back home. Now they say, hey, there's a need. What we gonna do? We gonna open us up a juke joint. We got our music. We gonna come back and get our people, and we finna run our business. Then you have the music and how it's just slightly introduced to where you have the gospel where you can kind of see it. And then you see the layering of the jazz. And then that's when you get the layering of, oh my God, is that Bootsy Collins? Like, wait, is it like, if you know culturally the music, it was so many references that if you are not Black and American, you will not understand what you're seeing. Because you're seeing yourself, but you're also seeing what Blackness looks like. When we get an opportunity to start a business, who do we have to have in our spaces? Well, we have to have a Grace and a Choi, because that's our groceries. These are the people that are allowed to do business with us and with others. But we also have to have Mary be accepted, right? Because she Black. That one drop is a motherfucker. She come in and everybody's
she was passing. She wanted to come around. That's what that was.
I think that's going to be probably be a hot topic. Right? Give me 1 second, because I
like 1/8, right?
Tiff, like that part of the whole scenery is very interesting, because it makes these conversations a lot more complicated for real. And before you kick, because I know you got a lot more to say, let me just welcome somebody into the show. Go ahead. Hey, welcome to the show, Supreme Guys PhD. How you doing?
Hey y'all.
Good day.
Happy.
Go ahead, Tiff.
Hello.
What's up? It's just I Anybody that doesn't think that they need to see it multiple times, I'm gonna question your aptitude because you clearly think you're smarter, because it's so many layers and levels that it's gonna take some time to just digest all of what we saw, even in the post credits, even in the sense of if you went in blind and was not expecting to see a damn vampire show, because I was not expecting the vampires, and even that in the sense of people sucking the blood out of blackness, eating us for life. Target right now, screaming for dear life because they need black money. So please tell me how this is not FBA to the core. It is where we are right now. It is so timely.
So the reason why I don't agree that it was a FBA movie, because it was just talking about, it was touching on a lot of different topics that was not anything to do with FBA, like the Chinese Americans that went to war and came back and tried to open up a grocery store. How the Irish American was out there toe tapping and dancing, doing his little dance move. It was also about the Native Americans trying to get rid of the certain people that was taking over this new land, the so-called white devil, where the whole white devil even come from. Like the first introduction of the vampire, he was on fire. But what did he do? Even though he was Irish, and so this kind of goes to what slavery is too. So that's what it also brings it back to. That's how the Irish was able to infiltrate into the whole whiteness of being white, right? He knocked on the white people's door, and they just allowed him in because he was white. Hey, they are a real enemy.
But Sharon, you had to catch it. Renwick, even though he's an old vampire, he's not from here. So the way that we were processing the racism, he kind of looked like, oh, well, this what y'all gonna let me come in there? Okay, well, yeah, it's because they black. He was a vampire. He want blood. He don't give a damn. But they didn't even see it. So it talks about how white supremacy hurts everybody, even other white people, because they can't identify it. And when we do, they feel as if like you're playing a victim role. It's like, no, what'd you say? I saw what you did. I picked up on this microaggression, and this is some bullshit. And yeah, I'm a grown person with grown money. And if we can't do business together, then that's just, it is what it is.
I know.
And also, they wasn't gonna let him in at first until he offered that money. First, he tried to play off their sympathy. Then he knows they was Klan people. Then he's like, "Well, if I offer you money, then that's when they let him in." When he showed them that gold, but at first they had the gun on him. They wasn't gonna let him in.
But ain't that the sin that got most of the people in trouble, right? Greed.
Yeah, greed. Yeah, because
that's how everybody let him in.
Greed and religion. Diva. He told her. He said, "Go ahead."
Today, I'm gonna drop you. I'm so serious because you sat there very quietly the whole time Aaron and Sharon was going back and forth. You sat there very quietly, and so I don't know if it's just women that you feel the need to talk over, or what. Nevertheless, Sharon, I wanted to go back to what you talked about with the Asian people, the Chinese people, and so you mentioned them going to war and coming back. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah, so because it shows that Smoke and Stack, they went to war with the husband of the grocery store, and that's how they knew each other, doing dealings back in the trenches with each other. And then so now when they came back to the original town, coming from Chicago, whether they got chased out, whether they stole, whatever the case is, because I wanted them to kind of get into that as well. Like we just can only speculate. And so, but it shows that Smoke and Stat looked at him as a brother, as somebody that was just trying to grind in this place of America, and they looked at the Chinese man also as he was being oppressed as well, not as an enemy. They didn't look at him and his family as an enemy. They was all cool. They even the way how they communicated. Another part I liked about it, Diva, was that they didn't make them like Chinese speaking, like they made them very. They was language appropriate to speak, like they had a relationship between Smoke and Stack. That's what I really enjoyed about it.
Right, but you saw how they had. Go ahead, y'all go ahead.
Yeah, no, you good, Diva. Go ahead.
So, they had two stores. One was for the white people, one was for the black people. You notice the dialect difference between the husband and the wife, right? But the reason they were able to speak that way is because that means they had been there for a minute. So are you aware of how they initially got into that area?
No, that I don't know.
Okay. So after after emancipation, they brought in Chinese labor, Chinese coolies, they called them, to be low wage labor, to displace the black people, right? So now we don't have to, deal with them at all. Now, again, they came there as low wage labor. Over time, you have some who, they built those stores and businesses and whatever and became more affluent, I guess. At one point, when they first initially came, they were able to send their children to the white schools. Once they reach a critical mass, white people start enacting laws against everybody. So a lot of those Jim Crow laws in Mississippi specifically also included Asians, right? So anti-miscegenation laws, if you was a Negro, or up to 1/8 black blood or 1/8 Asian blood, it was illegal to intermarry with whites. Y'all,
yeah, that was funny.
Right. So they had been allowed to go with the whites. Then they were going to have to send their kids to the school with the blacks. So they lodged a court case. And as part of the court case, they have filings and whatever. The Chinese people were saying we should be allowed to go to school with the whites because we are 100% Chinese and should be protected from the contamination of blackness, their words, just like you white people are, right? So that relationship between them wasn't really historically accurate, right? That would have been the exception rather than the rule.
That's a very good point, because and I guess this is why I think people that's saying that it's not a historical movie, I think is important that it's kind of a historical movie because it gives Diva a place where she can actually have a conversation about what actually happened, and that turns it into a historical movie, right? Because she could pinpoint and pick out, hey, that's not historically accurate, that's not accurate, that's accurate, and then now we learning something. So in a sense, in some weird way, it turns into a history lesson, in my opinion.
The one part that is accurate, though, is the fact that, yeah, they did have one store on each side of the street. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. One for the whites, one for the blacks. That's one part I wanted to say earlier, but that is historically accurate. So when Aaron was speaking earlier, saying, oh, none of it is actually historical. Yeah, you can actually Google some of this stuff, if you don't believe it, guys. Oh, and since I had the mic, I'd like to say my favorite part of the movie, and I think it's unpopular opinion, but my favorite scene of the movie was after they all after the sun came up, right? And he's sitting there thinking to himself.
Hold on, let's not move on from the Chinese part first. Before you move on to that you went all the way to the end of the movie. We still at the beginning of the movie. So because with all the Chinese across, I don't think most people I think that was great too, that the cross the street shit was crazy. I think I think him shooting them people in the middle of the street was hilarious. I thought the nuance to that part was absolutely great as well, and the contrast between the two brothers, like they was two completely different characters at the same time, very much alike at the same time. Okay,
so what made you think they served together?
Huh?
What did the Chinese dude say to make you think they served together?
Because that's how they met, he said. What made you think that they didn't?
Oh, I don't remember hearing that. Okay.
No. Okay. Yeah, that's how that's why he said it was introduced. He said we came back and blah blah blah, and then you went to Chicago and now you back. And also, I think it's also interesting to see the little girl, the daughter, like she was in between too, like how Diva was just explaining, right? Where she was in between of going in between. So like it showed what Diva was just talking about, right? Because the little girl, she was able to go play both sides. She was able to be in the black side of the store, but also run over to the white side of the store as well. Welcome back, sir.
But that's her mother, right? Her mother was able to go to both sides, right? The only person we didn't see go to the white side was the father, right?
I'm sure you can say that.
Wait, the
I'm sure it
father
was
went to the white
interchangeable.
side, and
So
then the
what I
white
was
came
talking
over
about,
to the
Happy,
black
was
side.
what I was talking about, Happy, is how the little daughter, like she was always looking outside the window, like she wanted to be a part of the culture, like her always being like she was like shielded from everything that the mother and father was doing, because they was also good businessmen, but they also was doing a lot of janky stuff as well. So supposedly janky stuff, right? They patching up people in the back of the house if you get shot. So he had to also pay for whoever is the nurse in the back to patch up the 2 bullet wounds that he just inflicted on the two men that was outside that was trying to rob him. So they was also doing things that was underneath. It also shows that Chinese, they ain't just great businessmen. They also out there doing some dirt as well. They are part of the dirt as well. They are part of the night culture as well. The bootlegging, how he was stealing Irish beer and he imported over. He stole the Irish beer from Al Capone. He also stole the Italian whiskey from Al Capone, and he brought it back down south. And they was all a part of. They was all in the mix of that. While also in Front Street, they look like they just a good old business and they ain't doing nothing criminal. And that's what Diva was kind of talking about. That's what it was. So they was able to dibble dabble on both sides. And then when it was time for them to get better education, they kind of pushed us to the backside. Great point. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think even though like it was very small interaction, like all of that was in that little interaction. That's what I did enjoy about the movie. Like you was able to kind of get a sense of what was going on. So it was pretty decent.
I thought the twins brought that back. I didn't know the Chinese men got that.
It was the twins.
It was the twins. They robbed both sides and came back down.
Right. And the wife, she understood what they did, that how like how she understood that he robbed both sides. And that was the beauty of like the whole interaction between everybody. Then so after that, we skip to where he buys the actual property. He's dealing with the white supremacists of Mississippi, and he's willing to sell him this goddamn property. But in this whole grand scheme of thing, he wasn't gonna just let him get away with having all that property.
Yeah,
he wasn't.
They did that a lot back in those days.
They would act like as if money meant so much to them, like, hey, and this is and the reason why I think that part of the movie was so important, because it goes into today's time and today's mentality. A lot of these Negroes today, they be like, because you are successful, that now all of a sudden racism don't exist. It don't work that way. It never has. And I think this movie showed it in a very good way. Like, hey, it ain't working out that way. Yeah, they'll sell you a house. They will talk to you nicely in the daytime, but in reality, they plotting to take you down. That's what's really happening. And then when we see it, it's nothing wrong with us speaking about it and say, hey, I see what you are. You ain't really on my team for real. And so now when we also get to, what is your thoughts on it? What's your thoughts on when they introduced the mixed girl into it? So very from afar, she looked like a white lady, especially the way how they depict her in the very beginning of the movie. You had no idea that she could have been even mixed, unless you know her as an actress.
She wasn't even really mixed, honestly. Not in real life, she ain't mixed.
She is mixed in real life, and she is in the movie. She is
with what?
She's an octoroon. Like, please start looking stuff up.
Is that really mixed though, or is that a white person with a black ancestor? Right. So I have a similar.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But only with a white great grandparent. Does that make me mixed? Am I mixed? Right? No, I'm a Negro. I'm black. Right. And so we got to know the difference between black people, mixed people, and a white person with a black ancestor.
Mm-hmm. What's up, y'all?
Good day, BMU. What's your thoughts on what we're talking about so far in the movie?
So when I'm
trying not to talk about so much of the movie, but really the depiction of history in the movie. So this way I don't spoil it too much for people that haven't seen. I'm trying to cross the conversation.
Yeah, and for me being from Louisiana, right, and knowing these different things, when she said certain things in the movie like Hanks,
Ooh, good one.
And she start talking about those things. Used to hear your grandmother talk about those things, right? We don't go out, we don't do this. Those hanks out there, you're dealing with spirits, you're dealing with the bag that she had around his neck. That you know what I'm saying? Like it's just it was very symbolic. But also, when you guys were talking about the Asian people being there, I've watched the movie twice. If you go back and watch it again, you will see that those are not the one store was not for whites and one store for blacks. Both of the stores were for both cultures. But what it was
No.
yes, it was on the left side. It was her house, right? It was called her house, right? On the other side, it was the grocery store. In the house, they were selling herbs and plants, and she was a healer. On the other side, they were selling just grocery, food products. So there was a healing house on Annie's house on the left side, and Bobo's grocery on the right side. You got to go back and watch it. It's two different stores doing two different things. She was a healer in the community. She sold herbs to help people when they were sick and stuff like that. So basically, she was a
the
pharmacy.
Chinese lady?
Yes. So if you go back and watch it, she was selling herbs and
store. Because
yeah,
remember we see what's the black lady, the big black lady's name? The black lady.
Mary.
No,
Mary,
that's a
yeah.
white lady.
Anna. Anna's the dark lady.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot her name, to be honest.
I forgot her name too. Damn, that's crazy.
That is so crazy. And she's an important role too. She was a very important role too.
Movie.
God damn, what was I forgot. I'm not even gonna try to think. Go ahead.
Because she was the healer, right?
Yeah. No. She was the
babies when we first see her. The babies are there getting stuff for their mama.
Yes, absolutely. So this is what I'm saying. On the Asian lady, if you go back and watch it, and you look at the store and look at the stuff that the people putting on the counter, the people that was there, they were buying herbs. There was like, say for instance, she was the pharmacist for the community. They was buying herbs, they was buying medicine, they was buying all type of stuff. So when the daughter came and got her, and she ran over to the other store to see what her husband wanted. When you walked in, what did you see? You seen vegetables, corn. You seen all that different stuff. It was a grocery store. In the other store, you didn't see any grocery in the other store. It was two different stores. It was Annie's house. It was Annie's house and Bobo's grocery.
That's possible. All right.
Yeah, that's true. That's the lady.
No, because the black people didn't shop at the same store as white people back then.
Right, and so that's why I was going to just about to say. So that's probably because the white folks trust the Asian people to heal them, and the black folks shop at
exactly
to get the healing. So it was showing.
That would have been a very recent development because there's a long history in this country of black people being, white people coming to black people for that type of
and she's absolutely right. Being absolutely right. That's also down south history as well. Voodoo and witch doctors, women the white people used to bring their fever-stricken children out in them swamps and leave their babies for those witch doctors to heal them. So she's absolutely correct.
It's called a root worker too. Can we not do that?
Okay, what is it called? What is it called?
A root worker.
They call it a lot of different things.
Okay, a root worker.
Oh, well, that's one of the names. It's a lot of names. Well, that's one of them.
A lot of different names.
Yeah.
And they also try to explain that a little bit in the beginning. I think they went a little too fast in the beginning by trying to give the different names and everything, the fire worker and all those things. But I understood that they only had like 2 hours and 20 minutes, so they had to. And also I want to say this as well. They put a lot of things from. I heard somebody say earlier about religious stuff. They put a lot of religious aspects in there as well. Let me give you one at the beginning when he went to the house and the Indians were looking for him. If you go back and watch when the vampire starts smoking and burning, when you go back and look at that, he fell from the sky. He didn't run. He fell. He dropped right down. Yep. He dropped right down to the ground. He was a fight. So now, what was your idea when you said? Because I thought that was very interesting. They didn't show exactly where he was jumping. Why did he jump? Why did he fall? What was going on? What was your thought when you? What is your symbolism of him falling and burning?
Because the Indians, the thing about it, the Native Americans, they know how to fight that spirit. They have their own root workers per se. They have their own. They know how to fight against those spirits. That's why when you seen him drop there, he was running from them. As powerful as he was running from the Indians because they knew how to fight. That's why he offered them gold, because he offered them something that, because they were poor, they were broke, they didn't have no money. So he gave them something to enter into their home, and then he consumed them. And then they became what he was, and so now he can hear what they're thinking, so on and so forth. But yeah.
And also they did depict that he could fly, so that also shows that, you know, so so they could have had something where they could knock him out the sky. That's why he was falling when the sun came up, because they was chasing him out through the night, right? They knew exactly what time when they could fight him as well, right? So because it was
Sharon, you said something else earlier. You said something else earlier too. I want to say this. I'm gonna drop back. I get back to work. But you said something else earlier about, did he sell his soul to the devil? He did, and it's in the movie. It's in the movie. If you watch the movie,
you believe he sold his. Are we talking about the guitar player, correct?
Yeah, the guitar player. Yes.
Okay.
Let me tell you how.
What's your part that you believe he sold his soul to the devil?
Okay, if you have to pay attention very closely. At the end of the movie, when they play the second credit, they show him in the church playing the guitar. Correct.
Correct.
When he looks up, when he's playing the guitar, something startles him and he looks up to the right corner, correct? When he looked up to the right corner, that was him choosing music over religion, and he chose to sell his soul. Now, let me tell you how I know that. Go back to the part when he was in the bar, when he was an old man, and the two vampires walking in, and he said, "Hey, I can help you live a little bit longer if you want." When Michael, and I want y'all to go back and watch the movie for a second time if you haven't watched it. When Michael B. Jordan and the young lady sits down at the bar, you cannot see their reflection in the mirror because they're vampires. Right. But then guess what? The guitar player is sitting directly beside Michael B. Jordan's character, and you can't see his reflection either. That's why because he does not have a soul. So you can't see any of their. You can't see. Yep. Go back and watch it. Go back and watch it. Yep, you can't see any of them's reflection in the mirror. That means they have eternal life as vampires, but he's getting older because he only sold his soul. He didn't take the bite. He took the deal with the devil. And so when the devil takes your soul, and from Louisiana culture, if he takes your soul, you no longer have a spirit, and you don't have a reflection in the mirror either. So neither one of them. So when Ryan Coogler put that in there, I was like, yeah, he does have some Southern roots, because that shit was on point.
But it's supposed to represent Papa Legba too. It's not the devil. It's
Papa Legba. Exactly. I agree. Yep. Because that's who met Robert Johnson at the. And when you was talking about Robert Johnson, he couldn't play a lick, and it is written history. He couldn't play. He didn't have no talent. He couldn't play nothing. And he went to that crossroads and came back was a damn master musician.
Leave Robert alone, goddammit.
I'm saying he couldn't play.
But that is the story that he did not know how to play a lick, and he came back being the greatest blues player ever. So
ever.
It's very interesting story for sure. And that's what I did like about the writing, even though Aaron didn't like the writing so much, but he did just enough for you to have some kind of understanding of what the movie's about. I think that was brilliant. It didn't overwrite it.
And even when Smoke's girl put the bag around his neck for protection, as you can see in the movie, until the very end, he was protected until he took it off. Nothing happened to him until he took it off.
Yeah, you speeding through the goddamn movie. Yes, but
hey man, y'all have a good day, Sharon. Y'all have a good show, man. I gotta go.
You too.
All right.
Sharon, did you make the notice of Renwick, the oldest vampire? He really wanted to tap into Sammy because Sammy and Anne still had connections to their direct roots. The longer he was here, he was saying, like, I miss my old home. I want to bring my family back. So those Black people were going to be the tie to get him back to his truer self, which was very interesting. And how it shows assimilation and how whiteness, when you assimilate, you lose your cultural roots. You lose a piece of who you really are.
Okay.
I've always believed that.
Good day, Hotep. Good day.
Hotep, what's going on? I was just listening to y'all. I haven't seen the movie, but
okay.
my grandmother and my great grandmother were root
Workers.
healers.
Where you
Yeah,
from?
my people from Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama,
Okay.
Mm.
and
He must
Texas.
have, hey Diva, he must have had that tablet in his pocket the last week because he was almost out of here.
Oh no, I already knew that. That's why I left, bruh. That's why I left because you got to understand is that some fights you have to sometimes you got to live to fight another day. You can come back, so a lot of times people, and I can tell when people just like you guys talk about this movie, somebody might come in here and make two people on the panel and roots, what is that? But I've actually watched my grandmother make roots. She used to make it for a sprain, broken arms. Never went to the doctor. There's a lot about my uncles and people. They never went to what you call traditional or modern doctor. No, the healers in the community or the elders that knew the root secrets and know how to make the ingredients and go get the ingredients like the pine cone, pine needles, and so forth, and the certain barks off in trees, and put certain herbs in there, and then having to allow it to sit and marinate for days.
Okay. And so
before you can even.
What else I did find very interesting is also the depiction of the vampires, right? And how they want to just take and use your talent and use their power over your brokenness. Because Sammy, he turned out to have a really good voice. The young man do have a very good voice. The young man Miles, he has a very good voice. But the fact that they seen him, go ahead, Diva.
Oh no, I was just saying I don't care for it. But
you didn't care for his voice? I thought his voice sounded good. It's unique. He got a very deep voice, even though he got a very small frame. It's a nice. I think he can hold the note. And but I think it was interesting how the Irishman, like how he was drawn to it and really like he wanted to take it so he could actually use it to get more people to conjugate to his whole vampirism and take over and bite into people and transfer them over. I thought that was a very interesting take because we've seen it happen in hip hop for so long. It's been happening.
Hollywood's go ahead.
It's been happening in our community for so long that literally when we see somebody like Shador, we don't even want to protect them. And then I think that was for me, I think that's what I was seeing, right? I was seeing Shador and Sammy. Yeah. And the people that was trying to defend them, we are the twins. Anybody that's trying to defend Shador or defend Carmelo Anthony, we are the twins.
Okay. Well, I haven't seen the movie, and I typically don't watch a lot of movies. Watch television. I do more reading, research than anything. So in sports, I'm not a sport. I don't watch sports. Only sports I may watch is probably boxing. I don't watch MMA and all that stuff. So. But I'm gonna check it out. But and plus, I don't believe in vampires, warlocks, hanks, and goblins and goons.
So the problem is like it's not supposed to really be taken. It's supposed to be a metaphor. It's supposed to be a symbolism, symbolism of what people do. Right? That's what it really is supposed to be about. Yeah. And I think sometimes people don't understand that. Yes, we have to protect. So Sammy needed protection from multiple. Everybody was trying to take his talent. Even the goddamn twins was trying to exploit his talent as well. But Smoke, he was saying, hey, no, you need to go ahead and go back to where you come from, hang out with your daddy and do gospel music. You shouldn't be out here. Leave all this degenerate shit to me. I'll deal with this goddamn street shit, not you. Take your goddamn talent and give it to the gospel. And I think that part of the movie was very interesting. That was him trying to protect them from this, the dark world. So to speak.
I had a interest in music, but because of the way my people was brought up and where my people come from, you either did, the way I was raised, you either gonna be church, you're either gonna sing the Lord's music, and serve the Lord. You can't serve two masters. You either, so we brought up in that. So I was kind of affected by that because that was always a subconscious thing. When I wanted to get into secular music and I started singing with secular groups, so I understand that. Huh?
Bust a note for us. Yeah, hit one for
Oh
us.
yeah, one of mine. Let me see.
He say one
Let me
mine.
see.
Yes.
This may have done everything in the world.
Go ahead,
Let
Hotep.
me
You
see.
about
Let me
to
see
know? Go
something.
ahead.
Yeah, let me see. Good. Ah,
Mm,
me.
mm.
Love is like a dream, but I never knew that it will always go my way. Ooh, baby, I love you every day. See, that's how we used to do up like
All
that
right.
back in the
He
day.
hit the shy
You know,
lights on
He
y'all.
damn sure did.
so I was derailed by that, but I sung with a lot of groups, brother. I sang a first tenor, a second, and a falsetto. I can drop to a baritone.
I
So
said, I tell you. So, did you get approached by the devil? And clearly, he told you no.
yeah, I got approached by the black devil and some white devil, and they bring in the same juju. So you know, so they want you to take they call it the red pill, blue pill. It's the same thing.
So what I would like to know, so what are your thoughts on when he started playing it? He was in this pocket of producing this brand new song that he played for the people at the juke joint. And then it transcended through all timelines, and that he had the power of Grayskull, right? Like he had all timelines, all music, all genres, all into that one thing. That's how good he was. What is your thoughts on that symbolism? What is your thoughts on that?
It was beautiful.
Oh, I thought. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, what you thought?
No, I think Tiff was saying something. I'll wait
She
because I
said it
don't
was
even have my
beautiful. Tiff, you want
my
to
thought.
expound on beautiful?
No.
You good, Tiff?
Mhm.
Okay, Diva.
There was like no gospel singers in there, but I guess it was dancing, wasn't it? It was music. No, because they had the little Earth, Wind, and Fire man too. Is that the scene we're talking about?
Yes, the very first music scene. Yes.
Okay, where Sammy's singing and all the spirits start coming out.
Mhm. The Indians, the geisha, the Bloods and Crips, the break dancers. Yeah, everybody in there.
The twerkers.
The twerkers.
And they had a Memphis Jooker in there, and I actually know him.
Yep, he was in that joint as well. I thought that part of the movie was interesting, how him singing so hitting that this musical inspiration, right? And that it just opened up everything. Like, so the whole building disappeared because he just opened it up for everybody to see. And that's how, so-called, it's not just the good people that seen it and enjoyed it. It's also, the people that want the vampires as well. They're going to see you as well. Wow, it was good. And how they burnt down the house.
Well, I'm gonna have to check it out. I haven't seen the movie, but I'm gonna check it out and see.
Yeah, it's very good cinematic. You should watch it in the IMAX, if anything, though, so you can really get the full of the movie. Very good symbolism.
But I heard a lot of.
They did have some gospel in there. Dude, they had them doing a.
They were dancing. They were shouting.
Not the Holy Ghost in there.
They had a little Holy Ghost in there.
Okay.
They were shouting and flipping over banisters and stuff like that, and getting the ghosts.
Just a little bit, like because it was trying to show so many different genres in one scene.
Right.
So it had a little bit of that in there as well. And also, I think I like the fact that they put in the old African when they doing the jumping with their feet, they whole upper body don't move.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're suspended in air.
Yeah, it looked like they suspended in air. I like how they brought that into it as well. So
that's a well-known dance with the
I forgot what
with the Maasai and the Yazidi in Africa.
No,
they
that's
can
not
they
the
can
one
do
Maasai do.
Maasai do a different one where they just do a jump, and then there's
That's not
one
the same
that the
dance.
was it what dance were they doing? I mean,
The
what was that?
one
Because I haven't seen the movie.
in West Africa where the guys dressed up in
Okay, I know what you're talking
shabbily
about.
outfitted. They do a similar dance in Louisiana. I forget what they call it. It's not
It's
jipping.
like
They call it jigging, I think.
Yeah, but and then they're moving their legs so fast, and when
yes,
you watch, it seems
yes.
like they're levitating almost. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what it looked like to me. But
Yes,
but
yes, we are in agreement with you. You don't have to reiterate it. We got
yeah,
you. That we
yeah,
are in
yeah.
agreement. And then so as we move forward, I think it was also crazy. It also shows a little bit of manosphere in there with Stack, right? Where he said, "Hey, listen, you just gotta use your tongue just a little bit lightly
to touch that pearl." Perlene said, "Oh, I gotta take a bath." He said, I want to smell."
Before he ever put it in, he licked the damn thing. That's crazy.
She said, "Let me range it off."
He said, let me just put some water on it.
Range it off.
But why was all the women married? I didn't understand that. Like, Perlene had a husband, Mary had a husband.
Sinners.
Right. There you
But
go.
I think the imagery of the women is very interesting.
It was. Yeah, what's your thoughts on that? Because I thought it was very, and this is why I do like the movie. And I think this is why Aaron is run that why you have to watch it maybe twice, because everything is so subtle that you could miss it if you focus in too much on one part of the subtleness. Like, because you could focus on the racism part, you'll miss all the relationship parts that was in the movie, because there was a lot of relationship things in this movie. But go ahead, Dave. What's your thoughts on the woman part?
Just looking at the way the two love interests were depicted, and what people are saying about it. I don't know. Apparently a lot of people missed out on a very important aspect of one of those relationships, but I'm kind of interested in what other people have to say about it, or what
before you talk about your part that you want to talk about. All right, anybody else, what's your thoughts on the relationships aspects within the movie? Because there was a bunch of relationship little innuendos.
I thought Annie and Smoke, that was love. It bothered me how Mary seemed to sexualize everything with Stack. Like, it was very, it was just really raunchy. It wasn't in it. The intimacy wasn't there. Like, it was
True devil.
You get what I'm saying? Like, it was just very. It gave a white woman using a black man's body. Like, it was very Caucasian how she dealt with him. Even though, you can steal this, but you can't steal this pussy. And it was like, girl, what? You've been married in Arkansas for 7 years. What are you talking about? She was very dangerous. So I didn't feel like she was safe for him, and he wasn't safe for her. But the dark skinned lady, I was off. When the way he sopped her up, I was like, ooh, I had a shove down my spine. I felt tingly up in here. Okay, shit.
So you said that relationship was love. So what about that relationship gave love to you?
A root.
I feel as if it's
not the root. I'm not pronounced it right.
Wow. I mean, I was gonna say he did keep that protection on. He didn't. What did he say? I don't believe this, but he loved her enough to keep it on, and he kept it on until she was gone. Which to me was like, if I can't be here with you, I don't want to be here. So, and then when the baby in her popped up, and she said, when you wipe that smoke off you, you can come and hold her. Even in the sense of, I want who you are. I want Elijah. I don't want Smoke. I want the man.
The hell?
So,
okay. And also, before you go, Diva, did y'all realize that both their names was Elijah?
No, it was Elias and Elijah.
And Elias is also is a version of Elijah.
Oh, is it? Is that some biblical type deal?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, go ahead, Diva.
So him keeping the mojo bag on despite him not believing it, that is what, so that's one indication that he loved her.
Yeah, I felt like he trusts her. It felt like to me, they look like a partnership. What it looks like when both people can be strong, and even in that's not your brother out there. Versus to me, it always seemed like the little white girl was like begging for the other boy's attention. like see me, see me, see me, see me, love me, love me, love me. It was very pick me-ish on top of vulgar. I did just. It's
She's
so
over there lighting that candle.
baby.
Go ahead.
I am gonna light one, and that was refreshing. It felt good to see Black spirituality on the screen. It felt good to see representation, and not in It just felt different. It was very dated, but it didn't give that. It didn't feel like trauma porn.
So you didn't think that is her name Annie, the darker woman?
It seems like it. Yeah.
Okay, what is the Asian woman name then? Because I thought she was Annie.
She's Grace. She's Grace.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. But her store was called Annie's something. Okay, nevertheless. Okay, so you didn't think okay, so was Annie a mammy?
It could give that.
Okay. Right, because I'm just thinking like if
she did a lot of the labor. Yes.
Right. So love, right? We ain't seen each other in 7 years. You come back in town, you come chat me up a little bit, you pipe me down, and then you ask me, hey, you could come fry fish for 100 people tonight. You get what I'm saying? What?
She had possession. She had possession of that brother's soul.
Her for the baby.
Yeah, one at a time.
You
What'd
know,
you
so
say?
to me that was just kind of oh, go ahead.
Yeah, what'd you say, Aaron? What'd you say?
She had possession of that brother's soul. Remember, she's sitting there lighting them candles and asked him, why'd you come see me? And she got the truth out of him. She's like, no, tell me the real reason. He was a marionette. He wasn't even him. That woman had that brother's soul. She put a root on him, or whatever that is in that bag, or he I bet you she got the best spaghetti and meatballs in the world, something. But I'm telling you, she had that man
when she spoke
before, long ago.
She said, you still feel the same in my body. And she said it in patois. I said, yes, bitch. Yeah. Just like that.
Right.
But what patois?
Huh?
Right? What patois?
She said something in his ear about your body. Your body still remembers.
But what I'm asking is, where did this patois come from?
Are you talking about Louisiana? I mean,
okay, so she was speaking that Louisiana, I guess patois, is that what they call it? Yes. She was speaking what? Creole, Cajun, whatever they call it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this was French patois, not English patois. Correct.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Diva, I'm from East Texas. So when we say patois or like the Gullah Geechee, like that's just something that we pretty much, it's just a given if you say it.
Gullah Geechee is something very different than
I know that's different.
Yeah.
Louisiana, those two totally different groups.
Definitely. You got them
But
Geechees.
I understand. Okay, so she was part of those people. Like she would have been from Louisiana.
She was
that's something I didn't pick up on.
Yeah.
And
Creole,
I think BM, you had it wrong. I think that was Annie's store where he saw all the roots. She was putting all the work together. That was her spot. She was the healer, and she was going through even in the part of they kind of show right before it gets kind of steep where she's in the house, Grace is in her house, they're all lighting candles and going through certain type of like ceremonial. It's almost as if they're anticipating we're about to go into that second half with the vamps.
Okay, well, so back to her being a mammy though, right?
Jesus.
Well, I mean, because you were like, oh, they love, but the man came, offered us some dick and said, come fry fish down to the juke joint and work the bar. And then when the vampires show up, you gonna be the one that gotta save everybody or teach us what need to be done, right? And so she was doing a lot of work that night. And I want black women to just be able to identify when you. Right, she was a bartender, everything, and so I just want black women to be able to recognize when you giving a lot more than you getting.
And Diva, don't forget,
and knowing that ain't love for real.
And Diva, don't forget, he put her in what as well. He put her ass in danger.
He put her in what?
Danger.
Right.
And then who killed her?
Mm-hmm.
He only loved himself, his brother. That's it.
Hey, Diva, that same man that dicked her down, sticked her down too. He put that stick on her ass too.
Well, she begged him, and she was a vampire while about to turn into one. I mean, come on.
I'm telling you, she did that because she didn't want her soul to go over to the vampires. She wanted to croak before it had to take place. You know why? Because wherever she was headed, she knew that the soul of smoke, or what, the brother was going to meet him there with the baby. That's at the end.
Right.
He was
So
Mary and Grace
Diva,
for.
so to answer your
You
question,
know that.
But if he never killed her before she turned fully, they would have never had a reunion in the afterlife. But she knew where he was going because she had his soul. She put him there long ago.
No, because she asked the spiritual ancestors, and she was dropping her things, and it kept doing the same thing over and over. Like she kept doing she had all those tablets, those small little tablets, and she kept dropping it, and it kept placing in the same exact alignment every time she did it. And so that's how she knew she was going to meet the baby girl.
Spiritual though.
Yeah, the spiritual ancestors.
Yeah, you know, there's several books out from back in the 50s and 60s on this very subject. But yeah, I know. I mean, I don't know the craft, but my aunt and my great aunt, my great grandmother, like I said, they was into that. That's the reason why I don't.
What was their root worker names?
My grandmother was Blackie, because I don't know why they called her that as a kid, but as I got older, my mother told me why they called her that. And you only go see Miss Blackie for certain things. You only go to certain people for certain things. So if you say if someone put a root on you as a man, and you ate somebody's spaghetti other than your mama's spaghetti, they can get that root off you. You know, so you went to certain root specialists in the neighborhood or in the community, or down up the road, or around the corner, or through the woods, and they would work that stuff on you and tell you how to take it, how often, what time, and if you need to do it in the closet or if you need to do it by yourself. So it was a whole lot of rituals and traditions that came along with our people, you know, from across that Atlantic.
And I say thank you, God, for the Bible. To get rid of all that voodoo stuff, bro. I tell you, and we out there burying people drawers in the
Man, I
backyard
feel
and
good.
stuff.
I'm in the singing mood.
Wait a minute. Well, I want to hear you sing. Either I know you not with y'all ritualistic eating the bread and the body and the blood. Cut it out. The Bible is full of witchcraft.
No, I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Christian.
So therefore, she wasn't talking to you then.
Oh, excuse me. I apologize.
Hit dog holler, but no, they'll get the burying drawers. You better watch out.
Oh hell!
They go
Eat a
start.
man on. Let me mute my mic.
They gonna start. Can you imagine your wife out there burying your drawers in the backyard so you don't go nowhere?
But you know the imagery of the Christianity, right? So when Sammy is at the brink of death and he start reciting the Lord's Prayer, the fucking vampire start reciting it with his ass, right? And the vampire tells him, "This shit make us feel good, but it don't do shit for you." The vampire tells him that.
Yes.
Hold on.
I gotta go because I ain't seen it yet.
Hold on, Edom.
Because you about to drop a nugget.
No, stay on, Edom, man. Don't leave.
Hold on.
Okay, I'll leave, PhD. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, Your Highness.
No, because we're talking about a very important part of the imagery part, right? Not only that, he was in the water.
I don't know what you're talking about. You gonna mess it up. All right, I'll go back. I'll see you later.
Well, I'll tell you about it. I want to mess it up for you.
So also it was kind of like he was getting baptized at the same time too.
Yeah.
So so that part was very interesting too. How Diva said, so he knew the same scripture and he's using the same scripture. And not only that, he said when he was first getting he said himself he was getting oppressed by that scripture.
He did. He said, "This is they gave me that. They gave me that too. Oh, I know this." He said, "Oh, I'm good with that," because the devil knows the Bible better than anybody. Like there's nobody better than a hypocritical Christian, because they're gonna come up here with the hypocrisy, and then they ain't gonna be able to tell you where it comes from, and then they scare as hell. Like, if God is divine, then why are y'all scared of every goddamn thing? You shouldn't be scared of a witch if you got the blood of Jesus. Plead the blood and keep it pushing.
So
Oh,
the way how I looked at it, that Christianity was also, it was oppression, and also it was freedom and oppression at the same time in this movie.
a tool and a curse, basically.
Correct, because at the same time he hated the devil himself. He hated it, right, and said, "Hey, they was trying to press me with it." He said, but also as I got older, I realized that it's a good. It made me feel good to know it. And also with Sammy, he dealing with his daddy telling him to not sing, and then he's dealing with Smoking him telling him not to sing as well. And so like he wanted to run away from Christianity at the same time. Like, so we had all of these complex situations with Christianity, how people feel like Christianity can save you, but also it holds you back spiritually.
I just want to say that already I saw it was actually on the entertainment show where Hollywood is already critiquing and criticizing and downplaying the movie. They already started that. So I'm gonna have to go see it in cinematic because it must be a hell of a movie if Hollywood's gonna be criticizing and already critiquing.
They can't critique it. They're freaking out because it's been the movie that's made a profit. It hit 45 million the first weekend, 45 million the second weekend. It's only had a 6% drop off, and the only thing that's probably gonna take it is because Thundercats came out. But if Thundercats doesn't have good reviews, this is one of these movies where I know I'm gonna go back at least 2 or 3 times to see it. I know people that they're on their 3rd or 4th viewing because it is almost like that feeling that you had from Black Panther, but it's just different.
So
you guys convinced me. I'm gonna go see it.
I want to get back into the relationship part. So Diva says she's a mammy. Annie was a mammy. Tiff, you agree or disagree that she was mammying? Regardless if you like the relationship, but do you agree or disagree?
She was doing a lot of labor. She was doing a lot of labor. I don't like she used the mammy word because I found that to be insulting to Black women, but she was doing a lot of laboring. She was.
So what would you tell a woman that didn't see the love of her life, her baby daddy, in 7 years, because he went to war and then he went to Chicago. She didn't see him in 7 years. Their baby died, so we don't know what kind of consulting he was doing, like he was consoling her or not. We don't really understand that or whatever. But he comes back 7 years, and on the first day he drops it off in her, and also he gets her to cook a whole bunch of catfish and be a bartender all in one day. What would you give her advice for? She can't do that. Hey, such and such came back. It's been 7 years since I spoke to her, because they didn't have no way to even communicate with each other. That's another thing, right? So we're in a position where they didn't even communicate with each other. She don't even know if he's alive or not. He come back, drop it off, and then also ask her to cook for 100 people, and also be a bartender at the place, and also kind of be a goddamn manager of the goddamn juke joint too. She was partially manager too.
That's a lot. I definitely would not. I see what Diva is saying. I think what I saw is like, okay, well, if they've been to war, they've come back. It was kind of clear, like some letters, like communication had been happening. It didn't feel as jarring as it did with Mary and Stack. It just felt different, but it may have been one. I just like to see the fact that it was a dark-skinned woman of a larger size that actually got to be a love interest, and she wasn't the mom, and she wasn't the auntie. And I think a lot of people are struggling in even seeing her as a love interest. It's been all over Twitter where people like, that wasn't a loving relationship. And it was like, yes. But it was okay almost to see Stack have the desire for a woman that eventually gonna get everybody killed versus the Black woman that I guess her loving on a man, she a mammy. Like, do you get the dichotomy of where sometimes Black women, if you really want to be in a traditional relationship, you are looked like you're a lesser than, because you don't have a problem with a different dynamic. If she wants to, go ahead.
So you're saying that the Stack's girlfriend, she put everybody in danger?
Most definitely. Think about this. The vampires were walking through, right? What initially caught their eye was her white ass walking in there. And then when they saw it, when they heard the music, then they saw through. But the initial attraction with those white folks was they saw her going into that building.
That's not how it was depicted at all, in my opinion. Okay. I thought what he said was I felt you from across wherever he was at, and he said I was drawn to your energy, and then I came and I seen it for myself. And so what happened was Stack was the one that sent her out there, and he sent her out there in danger again. It shows, to me, it was showing relationships again, how men are willing to put their woman out there in the forefront, even though he gave her a gun to make her feel like she was protected. She got bit because Stack was the one who sent her out there to the goddamn vampires at first. So he sent her out there to the wolves to get. And this is the relationship part that we always have in conversation, that a lot of these men are not protecting a woman the way how they think that they are talking about. And so he sent her out there and he got her
no, she said, and think about this. When they showed that money, she was like, oh, let me go out there and see what they're gonna do. She really thought her whiteness and her proximity to them, because she was passing, she thought she was going to be out there and to be able to be conniving, and her ass got, because it will always get you. You do not, it's some things you shouldn't play with. She should have stayed her ass and been in that house with everybody else with the covering. The minute she went out there, and the fact that she thought that she could do it, is, to me, that's what makes her dangerous. Because a person that you've got to think, me going out here could potentially harm everyone else in here, is something that I think Black women have to think about. I don't think white women or non-Black women have to think about how their behavior can affect everybody in that room.
So, and who was she doing it for?
Her Black boo.
All right. So therefore she wouldn't have did it if he wasn't out there scheming and scamming in the first place. She thought she was going to be able to help him because she was trying to prove her worth, right? Because we always hear that conversation too. You got to prove who you are. So she was trying to do exactly what the manosphere always say. You got to put out and do what you got to do and prove to that man that you are worthy. That's what she was doing. Every day she was showing that she wanted to be there for him and do whatever she got to, even though she's with another man in another state. Hey, I'm here for you. So again, it was showing how relationships are, especially with these ideologies that we hear out there, is that the woman got to do so much more. Like she had to do so much more to be with him, and to put her in danger, got herself turned into a goddamn vampire because she was chasing a goddamn man.
And can we just say that butter and cake mix is not medicine?
Say what?
Butter and cake mix is not medicine?
Oh, okay.
No, because earlier he said that the woman's other grocery store was basically medicine and whatever she was cooking up over there. In all actuality, though, yeah, maybe he needs to go back and look at it.
Okay, fine.
I haven't seen it, so I'm just taking y'all word
talking.
For it. Yeah, I love to talk.
So Deepa, so what are your thoughts on my breakdown of the other couple's relationship?
So now, Sharon, you were saying that he sent her out there, the white lady.
Yeah. Yes, because she was trying to convince him to go, I could do such and such, because she's trying to get more money from him. He could have said, no, sit your stupid ass down, because he had total control of that girl.
Mm-hmm.
But
was she a white woman or was she a passer?
She was they depicted her as a mixed woman.
She's
okay. So that's a passer.
Right. That's what they would. Yeah, that's what they was pushing her character to be at.
Yeah, that's a passer.
Mm-hmm. And that's why she wanted to go talk to the white folks.
Well, she thought she can charm the savage beast.
Correct. Like dead ass, dead on. And I immediately thought about Shannon Sharp when I was sitting in the theater, just like I did. Now, I'm not trying to be facetious. It's just like when a
No,
person,
it just sounds funny when you said that.
but you get what I'm saying? Like, I know he
Yeah.
really thought that him being 56 and a millionaire, he was going to be able to have dominance over that white girl, but he's still black. And at 19, she still took down a multimillionaire Hall of Famer, lost $100 million contract, and all of this behind some white cooch. And
I
everybody
don't
killed and got burned all the way up for some white cooch.
I don't
Absolutely not.
feel nothing for him. On now out of sight of the movie, I don't feel nothing for Shannon Sharp.
Fine. So let's talk about the top. It's not because of white coochie that he's in the situation.
That's exactly what he deserved.
He's in a situation. He's in a situation because he's a goddamn degenerate.
The lack of sexual discipline. So can we not say that a piece of the movie also showed that if you're not sexually disciplined, it can lead to your downfall?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could agree with that part. Yeah, it definitely could lead to your downfall, or you be eating some unwashed cooch that been walking in the goddamn heat for however long she took her to walk there too.
I saw a Negro walking through a store with a damn Pekingese in his arm, and something didn't look right where he was walking with that little toy dog. I don't know if y'all seen that.
Okay, but so no, but I want to so that's what I'm saying. Like, so I think that we should not be saying Shannon Sharp, even though like it's okay. I think it's cool, but it's because of Shannon Sharp's deviancy and degeneracy is the reason why he's in his place, not because of a white woman. It's because he don't know how to act. It's because possibly because something happened to him where I don't know what's going on with him, but
I think the connection is when you're not, like I said, when you lack sexual discipline, that it bleeds everywhere. It affects everybody. And it's just, it was interesting to see, like, okay, 1932, all the way back to the Bible. Like, if I was a dude, the way that women can ruin men, I would be really careful about where I would put my member. Like, I would be very, very, very cautious, because just the wrong person can just absolutely take you out.
Yeah. Well, the gate was open.
So how did the wrong person take him out?
So I think if we'll use the movie, Mary shouldn't have been at the place. Stack should have heard what Smoke said, send that girl home. And that little young lady shouldn't have been by Papa's house. He should have told that young lady, I'm going to give you some change, but you ain't going to be able to come out here now. Sometimes you got to say no. Sometimes you just got to say no. It is embarrassing. I do find him to be embarrassing, Robin. I hate to see it. It's sad to see the same thing take Black men out all the time. And it is always a woman. And it's just like, God damn, not you too, bruh.
No, but it's not a woman that took him out.
The proximity to making bad decisions with women.
That's the thing. So it was all his decisions that took him out.
Right. But can we not say though that there's a theme?
No. The theme is that men, you need to stop being goddamn degenerates. It's the theme.
Tip, I agree with you. I sway on you. I agree with
Thank you.
with
I'm just like, I feel like I'm
and the reason why I say that is because the generation that I come from, and that's the reason why I say when this type of stuff go down, I mean, we've heard it throughout all different levels of sport. I don't feel nothing for rather stage. I don't feel nothing for them. I'm just when they fall, when they get stripped down to nothing because they think they got a goal, they got to collect 200 pass go. I don't feel nothing for them. I really don't.
All right, so Rob, we're not. I don't know what position that you really have.
I'm just agreeing with Tip.
Right, but we're not talking about feeling anything for him. We're talking about who and how he got in the position that he's in. And
He's in the position.
Women. Hold on. Okay, good. Hold up. You think this?
He's in the position because he have the economics to take those type of risks, and based on his actions, and because he think he has come to the club, the bouncer don't check you, just wave you in. How many people do you got? Go over to the boom boom room, and that's what a lot of these Negroes have. And I've
Okay,
always spoken out about that.
so now, why is that have? So why is the woman the reason for it?
No, I didn't say the woman. It's a duality. It's a dual component. It's not
And
so
right,
much
and
as the
so
woman's
okay,
responsibility, but some women do
okay,
come.
hold on. So if I'm selling, let me just make sure I understand. If I'm selling drugs,
Mhm.
and I get caught selling drugs, is it the drug that got me locked up, or is it because I'm breaking the law?
How about if you selling drugs
Answer the question
and you
first.
in this? Well, no, it's if you're dealing depth to your people and you get caught up or get
Answer
arrested or
the
go to jail,
question.
it's
It's
your
okay.
fault. It's your fault. But I
Okay,
don't
so
know where
now,
you.
okay, pause. Okay, so good. So it is his fault. So now when he, Shannon Sharp, for example, is the one doing what he's doing, why are we
Right.
saying it's because a woman is the fall of a great man?
No, I didn't say that. I just
Yeah,
said I
that's
agree with the positions that she's.
okay. That's what Tiff is saying. Tiff is saying a woman, especially a white woman, is the fall of all these men. And
No,
I'm
no,
saying that
I
no,
don't. I'm
it's
saying
okay. So stop. If you're not saying it, then just stop trying to defend it. So what I'm saying is that no, it is that man and his goddamn degenerate behavior is the fall of that man.
well, I agree, I disagree with that, but I disagree with that in totality. But if that's your position, I accept.
So are we still talking about Stack and Mary and who went out to get the money or whatever?
Right. Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
yeah, that's the catalyst of the conversation. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I thought it was interesting when the people came up and were, singing and they opened the door, like, Stack was bobbing his head to, their little music or whatever. And when the guy was saying, "Oh, we can't come in because we white," how she get in there? Annie was in there, mammy. She's family. Let me stand
Hey,
in front of the
Diva.
white
Hey,
girl.
hey, hi, Diva. I told you that's what I was gonna do. I think you watch our show. Because remember
What?
when I said when they see my daughter in the back, said, "How'd she get in there? Don't worry about her."
Yeah, but the problem is, and so it illustrated very nicely the issue with that, because that white woman with a black ancestor in there is always gonna have some sort of affinity for her own people, right? So, but they can't be that bad. Let me go see if they good people. That's what she said. I came out here to see if y'all good people. But even with Stack, he was halfway ready to let him in because his relationship with her, a white woman, had desensitized him to, right? So
Take that
even
risk.
right, even being in proximity, it'll start to compromise you.
Right.
I disagree because they
See,
was
you drop
raised.
your guard on shit like that when you're in proximity.
So the reason why I disagree is because they was born together. They all was raised up in the same house.
So
They knew the mother and everything. So she was considered family because they was raised together. Not
so he
because
was doing his sister. Is that what you're saying? He was doing his sister?
He was.
no,
Okay.
they was raised together, is what I said.
Her
Oh,
mom
You said
raised
they
her.
was family, but
The,
Like that's
so
why she said she's like family. Yes.
her mama
no,
raised
she
her
didn't say
boys.
she liked family. She said she family. However, okay, so now again, like I want us to think about, how did this woman Mary come to be? She said that when the boy asked her, "What are you?" she said, "My mother's father was half black." This is 1932. So now we got to go back 1, 2, 3 generations to get to the actual black person. 3 generations ago, that black person was probably enslaved. So uh it was probably a woman, right? Who started off, who had, a baby from a white man. That's the granddaddy. But then the granddaddy, in order to make her white mother or a quadroon mother, would have had to be with a white woman. And so with those anti-miscegenation laws that were in effect at that time, I've been wondering, how did this half black man get a white woman? Right? And then when they had her mother had to procreate with a white man in order to create her. So now, how were they all raised? How were they even in proximity to one another? Because by the time she that white, We ain't being raised in the same house as no fully black people, typically.
The way they explained it was that I guess the boys were raised by her mom. When she got of age, she got sent to Arkansas to marry a white man.
No. Okay, hold on. So why would her mother, who married to or with a white man, procreating with a white man?
It seemed like her mama was a hoe. That's what it was.
Jesus, I don't.
Her mama was a
Okay.
goddamn prostitute. Her mama was a goddamn prostitute, slinging that thing.
Oh my God.
Okay, but now we're getting somewhere because nobody is recognizing that Mary was a hoe too. Stack was a fucking pimp.
And that's
Nobody
why he
picked up on that.
He sent her to Arkansas.
I said I didn't think their relationship. It felt.
You didn't pick up on the fact that she was a hoe and he was her pimp.
I said it felt transactional and it didn't feel like love.
Okay, and that means hoe and pimp.
No, that's a bit
right. Because there's a lot of niggas who with a woman for transactional reasons and he's not her pimp.
But wait. Hope how? Because who was she sleeping with? Because for him to be her pimp, she would have needed clients.
Right. How you think she got that white husband?
She
was in Arkansas. The man literally said when they was in the thing and they gave the man the drink for 30 cents and some wooden nickels or whatever he had, and Smoke pulled him into the room. He said, when you were selling ass in Arkansas, was you letting the Johns pay with a promissory note?
Oh
they were in Little Rock together. He was pimping her, and he even tells her, I taught you to leave when the money was up, right? Alluding to, I taught you to get out the game, marry that white man, and go be rich with that white man. So no, that's not what you said.
Well, I said that it didn't seem like love, but
but not seeming like love ain't the same thing as I'm a hoe and this not pimp.
No, I don't immediately make that correlation. But
right,
everybody's processes things differently. I just that's not what I got from that at all. But I'm gonna go rewatch it. So okay,
go rewatch it because when he turns into a vampire. And they got him in the room and he telling them, let me out, I'm fine now, whatever. He say, you can't keep all this pimping locked up in here. He was a pimp. And she was his hoe, which is why she talked the way she did. Boy, if you don't get the fuck out my face. Yes, she was his bottom bitch. That's why she said, you taught me how to fight. I beat every bitch in here.
Why you? Diva.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. Y'all be burying y'all head because
I'm not burying my head. I'm processing. I'm like, God damn, now how you done made this? And I see it now. I'm like, well, I just felt like there was a complicated relationship. I wouldn't have done it, but
he sent her out there to get the money.
Right. Come on, Happy. Come on, Happy. That's why she volunteered to go out there. She was used to going and getting money for him.
She volunteered.
Right, because she was used to going and getting the money for him. She was a white woman and she was the hoe. Who else getting the money?
And so, and that's why I went, and that's why I was telling you, Tiff, is that no, it wasn't the woman's fault. She didn't bring the danger. It was Stack. He was sent her out to the danger. He was doing
no,
he was saying, hey, go get
she the one brought it up though.
Huh?
She the one brought it up. She the one brought it to his attention.
Right, she brought it up because that's what she learned from being with him. He taught her how to fight. He taught her everything that she know. He taught her. That's why. And
well, honestly, I'd say it was still her fault.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I enjoyed the way how their interaction was. I ain't gonna lie.
They were very toxic. They was toxic. She said, "Boy, if you don't shut the fuck up," I said, "Oh my God."
She's like, what he said? He said, I told your ass to leave. You also told me that you wanted to fuck this pussy. I was dying.
She was very red pill, like she was a red pill woman.
Right. The dynamic.
I say it's still all her fault because.
So that's the problem that the manosphere do. It would tell you that it's all the woman's fault when she is just following her goddamn man. She was following her man. We gotta stop trying to put the blame and say it's equal blame. Like the other person's reacting. This is why the conversation was like that yesterday.
So she did.
What
I mean,
happened?
you said she following him,
like,
but at the same
we
time,
even have the goddamn vampires in the chat. That's crazy.
what are you talking about?
Why would they be by here if they don't like you? It's weird, Sharon. It's so
No,
weird.
so this is why that vampire situation was so interesting, right? Because they still drawn to you, right? So regardless, they still want something from you. They still want that light. That's why at the end of the movie, he sung the song, "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine," right? So it shows that, hey, I'm drawn to you. I love everything, and I want to use you. And so that's what the vampire metaphor is really supposed to be. It ain't really about them blood sucking and all that, how it is, and all, you know. So it's all about the metaphor. The Irishman of all people, he was the one that was doing the orchestrating all of that, was singing and doing his little line dancing Irish dance that he did. That I know Diva loved.
I actually do. I remember when I was in kindergarten, we had two classmates who were Irish descent, and so they came and did they had on their little costumes and did their little dance. It was cute.
I knew you liked it. I knew Diva liked this part.
They little dance.
Yo, you know, so as soon as I
Jack
seen that
class.
part, as soon as I seen him doing that line dancing, like the Irish line dancing, I thought of you, Diva.
Did you say an Irish line dance?
Yeah.
Nothing says diva like Irish line dancing. Right?
Yes.
Yo, like how would you say river dancing and nigga fight? Because you really, because I'm thinking in my mind, like, what would an Irish electric slide look like? Like that might be a bop.
So that's
I thought of Diva as soon as I saw that man's teeth.
Aaron was saying something to you, Miss Diva.
You know what, Tiff? Cut it out. How about Miss Diva? What you said, Aaron?
Nothing.
I can't take the task. You and Love, y'all are very strong, and I'm tender. When you do that, I'm gonna drop him like, let me just shut up. Tell me when I can talk, but let me be quiet. Mute.
You know what? Okay, so did we see the colorism? Did we talk about that? When he told her, I get one of these field bitches to drag you out of here or something like that?
Can I say one part about the singing?
Yo, that part was hilarious,
wild.
but I love the way how she butt back. You taught me how to fight. I'll whip all these bitches' asses.
And that's why I wanted
she got
one
her
of the
ass
field
whooped.
bitches to come up and snatch her by her hair and beat the shit out of her right then. Like, really, bitch?
That's
I thought it was gonna happen. I thought we was gonna get to see it, but no.
I don't think so, because I think that showed some of the. Mary was so entitled, she didn't even see her entitlement to the point to where you really think you could fight somebody from the field. Girl, you done been married and by a white man for the past 7 years. Go sit your ass down somewhere. Be quiet.
She's so entitled she really let everybody killed. That's what she is.
Hold on. No, that's not. Y'all gotta stop saying she got everybody killed, because she did not.
She did. Her and Grace.
No, she did not.
Grace damn sure did. I know you're not finna say it wasn't Grace. Because Grace
invited them in. Yeah, Grace invited them in.
Y'all come on in here. Bitch, this ain't your house. How you let us show you in
Y'all are crazy. Hold on.
So y'all don't think that song and dance was a spell?
Hold on.
No, she was doing it to protect her child. That's why she invited them in.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I think
because all the black people wouldn't let her leave.
Hold on people is ridiculous in my opinion. It is no way you're gonna say the pimp that is pimping the hoe and telling her what to do and how to do it and where to go and hey, you need to do it like this. That the person that's orchestrating everything is not the reason. They are literally the reason. This goes to show that we do support the goddamn degenerates of our neighborhoods. Both of them was goddamn degenerates. They was the criminals of our goddamn neighborhood. Literally.
All right, I'm back. Catch me up.
No, you don't even need to be here because you haven't saw the fucking movie yet.
Who you talking to? You talking to another grown man like that, bro?
They even corrupted the young man Sammy by lying to him about the guitar by bringing him into the nightlife in the first place.
But that was Stack, and he already could sing. He was already talented.
That's the right. The problem is that we're not recognizing that they are the problem. That's the issue. We look.
No, I recognize that.
We are looking at them like they did something great, that they are heroes in this movie.
Right.
I don't.
People are looking at Smoke at the end of the movie that he's a hero because he got the get back. He ain't the hero of the movie.
No.
But if that's their perception,
and this is why we got to pay attention to what happened. This is why Grace invited him in. You see, before she invited him in, she like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong, child. Let me make my Molotov cocktail. I don't understand. They were just grabbing some goddamn bottles of goddamn beer. You shot 2 men that look like you. That was the symbolism of that whole interaction. The fuck you talking about? You want to shoot people?
Grace,
and you mean to tell me these goddamn? You mean to tell me these vampires done killed your brother in front of you, and you don't want to go do nothing?
But Grace has no
culpability. What you talking about? That's the issue. Every time we wanted to buck up and do everything we wanted to do.
Wait, are we talking about a movie or are we paralleling this society? Are we paralleling?
No, we're talking about a movie that you did not see.
That's because he had a root on him.
Not the root.
And so what I'm saying again, that Smoke was quick to let that thing go on 2 black men that just stole a goddamn beer. And then when the same goddamn vampires done killed your homegirl, your brother's goddamn bottom B, wound up convincing her to go ahead and kill your own twin brother, you still wasn't ready to go out there and get it popping? And then now they threatening my goddamn family. No, we getting this shit popping. What the fuck you talking about? We degenerate. Let's go do our degenerate shit.
Her husband was already turned.
You supposed to be a soldier. This is what she said. This is not a good time to be a soldier. Then when is it?
So you're okay with people that we've allowed Grace and her husband. You've been allowed to be a part of the community, but as soon as it's time for you to stand with blackness, you get white real quick. Y'all come on in here. No, if you want to worry about your goddamn daughter, go out there, get your husband that got turned, and go get your little Chinese baby. But you don't got to put all these black people's lives in danger because you're going to endanger all of us for your one.
Wait,
but no,
so
the black people was holding her in there.
Why did they?
So, but that's what she did. She said, "Let me leave." They didn't let her leave.
And that's the crazy part, because when she started talking that shit, they should have opened up the door and pushed out.
That part, bitch, get out.
But that's the thing. And so, why do black people will forego their own self-preservation to try to protect somebody who don't look like them?
It's a sickness.
That's when you know you're gonna lose me there because I don't play with the white people like that. Sharon, no, I deal with one white person, and that's my problem of his blackness. But outside of that, I do not trust anything, specifically white women. They are dangerous. And I believe that black women know how dangerous they are because they will not only play their woman, but they will also play that whiteness, and them white tears will get the whole goddamn building blew up. Because
I'm on that. I agree with that.
He can hate white women, but she represents him, so you're not gonna disrespect her. And that's what
I'm not a snake expert, so I treat all snakes equally.
Boom. I'm not.
I don't care if it's a down cottonmouth.
And wondering why you bit me. That's a snake. Leave it outside.
But let's talk about what happened, though, right? But what happened was that she was attempting to leave, and then she didn't understand. Like, what are we sitting here waiting for? We ain't never wait for nothing else. We get shit popping. This is the same thing when goddamn like George Zimmerman, for example. Oh, let's wait and see what happens with the court. What the fuck you mean?
Oh man. Oh boy.
All of y'all some goddamn gangsters and y'all ready to shoot each other in the street.
Right.
A movie. We talking about a movie.
Come on.
No, Rob, what he's saying is true though, because
I know what he's saying.
Okay, so why you interrupting what I'm saying? I'm confused about when y'all do that shit. I don't be understanding why y'all do that. So again, the movie, in my opinion, was depicting that he shot one person for stealing his beer. Shot him, bomb. He turned around, he knew the dude, and the dude was like, he was apologetic. He wound up shooting the other dude. that didn't steal anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
And what
Off
he
of
said,
GP.
he said, go ahead, Happy.
Oh, I said my part already. I said off of GP.
He was very violent.
And then so he shot the other kid and he said, "What'd you do that for?" He said, "Because I cannot have somebody saying that they almost robbed from the Stack Smoke brothers without a limp. So this is how far you willing to go. Somebody that ain't even do nothing just for the word of mouth to make sure nobody else believe that a nigga could steal from me. But when a vampire kills your goddamn brother and your brother's bottom bitch, you want to try to, hey, I don't know. Let's sit down and talk about
it. Now let's sit down and talk about it.
Diva, ain't no time to be talking at this moment.
Right. Yeah. He should have been about that action.
He should have been about that action. She shouldn't have had to initiate that action. It's about that action. Yeah. You got that garlic? You got that garlic sauce?
So let me ask you this then, Sharon and Diva. Seeing as though he did send her out there, wouldn't that go back to the tempo relationship and like the lack of love? Because she was just a tool that he was utilizing. He loved that woman. Huh? The white man?
Yeah, he loved that woman.
I don't think he loved her. I don't think you can have his general. I don't think he liked women, period. Right? He was disrespectful as a rule.
He was.
He, even when he was in front of the man wife, he disrespected her. Fuck your wife. Maybe she'll let you put her dick in your mouth, right?
He did do that twice.
Well, wait, her mouth. Your dick in her mouth. Yeah. So he was just disrespectful as a rule. I don't think he liked women at all.
But Diva,
right? You gonna like women, but
that
like
part
a commodity.
Right
there. Before y'all go back and forth with y'all, I just want to address Marcus. The whole movie, it was showing Smoke. His plan was to grab his gun for everything.
Right.
As soon as that white man said, "Boy," he said, "What you mean, boy? We got grown man money." The first thing he did, that white man said, "Boy," he grabbed his gun. Those boys grabbed his liquor bottle. He grabbed his gun. He was arguing with his little goddamn cousin. He grabbed his gun. He pointed the gun in his fucking little cousin's face.
He did. But that's
and then later on, he grabbed his gun again and pistol whipped his goddamn cousin. So every situation up into the point where these vampires was threatening him, it was grab the fucking gun.
You know what? Yeah.
But isn't
that was scared?
The
gun can't do nothing to those vampires.
So what I'm saying, I think a lot of people miss that part because we so caught up on this manosphere bullshit that these women are the fault because she was a goddamn hoe. Where she was the one that got turned out in the first goddamn place. And Diva admitted that he probably never even loved women ever. He just using them as a tool.
Right.
And we keep blaming the person that's getting taken advantage of. It's that we keep having. So again, that vampire was the fucking problem, right? And the Smoke brothers, Smoke and Stack, they was the fucking problem.
Wait a minute, because I do want you, and I was trying to ask you and Diva. I understand what you're saying in the sense of she was a sex worker. Even in her being a sex worker, her being a white woman, she still had more power than him. At the end of the day, she still had the power that he didn't have. And I think, to me, that proximity of you thinking you can use her as a tool is also very dangerous for other Black people. Because at some point, when they finally, like you said, he was the one when they came and started singing the song. Stack was just bouncing his head, Smoke looking at them like, the fuck? He bounced, let them in. Oh, they sound good. What? Oh, here go the guard. He was willing to do anything for money. So I'm like, okay, let me collaborate. I'm not going to agree with the Mary thing. We can agree to disagree on that. But I'm just trying to see, like, what is the culpability with Grace and with Mary? Because Mary, knowing and going outside, she knew they were fucking vampires. You knew what it was.
Pause. She did not.
What?
When Mary went outside, she didn't know they was vampires. She thought they was humans.
Right.
Do you?
Are you talking about the white lady or the Asian lady too?
The white lady.
The white lady. I think it was out of her cockiness. Like, I'm not dumb enough to think I'm gonna go outside and see if people are good folk. I'm not doing it, right? So
no,
I'm saying
this
her
is what,
proximity
hold
to
on.
whiteness.
You gotta, no, but you gotta put it in the context of the movie.
Okay.
Her boyfriend is a fucking gangster, the biggest gangster in the town. And she has a gun on her hip. She ain't worried about nobody. So she don't care. So she don't care if they good people or bad people because she got the biggest gangster in the city. He a big stepper. That's what they say out there. He a big stepper.
She a fool.
Right. But he robbed Al Capone.
Right.
So therefore, if I'm the person that robbed the biggest gangster in the world at that time, and I put this gun on your hip and say, go ahead and get that money, I'm right here. You ain't gonna have no fear about, oh man, I don't know if I should. You ain't gonna have that fear. It's not how that works. When you've been dealing with whatever she's been dealing, going ahead and spreading her legs like mustard for 7 years.
Ryan.
So you can't put yourself into it. You got to also understand the mentality that she was a criminal too.
I ain't no hoe, so I don't know. But
you know what I'm saying about the criminal activity, right?
Yeah, like I'm telling. When Diva said it, I'm like, well, damn, was she? But in my mind, I'm like, well, what was she fucking these people?
So what I'm saying that we gotta be very understanding about
sex with this person. No,
so we gotta be very understanding about what we're talking about. Even with the Shannon Sharp thing and how we could translate it into Shannon Sharp, he's been taken down by this young white woman, right? Hey, look, he paid $25,000 per cheek, right?
That's nice.
You know how much he gave his daughter at her wedding?
$30K for the wedding. That's so sad.
No, it's not sad. No, it's what is the reason. No, hold on. I don't want to. What I'm saying is that we gotta blame the person at hand. That is Shannon Sharp degenerate behavior. It ain't that white woman that he paid $25,000
on his part.
Jesus Christ! It is not that white woman that was selling her ass for $25,000 a cheek. It was goddamn Shannon Sharp degenerate ass that's willing to give more to some sex worker than his own damn daughter. And this is what the Smoke and Stack brothers really represent. That we, as black folks, we kind of look at the goddamn gangsters in our community as something as a hero, just because he got the lick back at the end.
I don't know at them as heroes, though. I don't. Do you think that?
Hell yeah, you crazy? Listen, look, Tiff, look, I seen all the symbolism. I'm like, God damn. But when he picked up that Tommy and he's like, I was like, yeah, nigga.
And look, when we saw it, I was just like,
yo, Diva, even though I seen all the degenerate shit, he fucking up the community when he did that. I was like, yeah, nigga.
But didn't all the black people die? Like nobody made it.
Right,
Sammy made it.
Sammy, well,
yeah, right.
Yeah, I look, because
he
lived.
No, I would love, even I do want your opinion on that, because I do think it was something so powerful that when he went back, I took it as like the prodigal son, where you go, you live and you come back. But the fact that even after everything he experienced, the fact that he still chose music over quote unquote ministry, I was like, we've got to talk about how this religion that we've been taught doesn't serve us, because so many gifted people don't see themselves in this, and it's harmful. Like, it's just harmful.
I agree with that.
It was just so sad to see how his father was so willing to like just put him out there, like, this baby's throat is blessed and you can't deal with him singing secular music like that. That was the shit that made us sneak and do crazy stuff. Like, don't listen to secular music. You ain't have no earrings. Don't wear pants. The things that whatever you try to keep from the quagmire, it's like you want to flock to it, That's when you
quagmire shit we find ourselves in.
Spiritual.
And then clearly we do have a double mind in this.
Yes,
in
sir.
the black community.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes,
right,
sir.
because like literally, if he'd have listened to his goddamn preacher daddy, he would have never met the devil. He would have never been singing this little light of mine at the end. He would never got cut up in his face. None of this shit would have happened. Maybe, and maybe, just maybe, that his two cousins, the twins, would have been alive because they all went there because they wanted his pure talent and they wanted to corrupt him. They didn't give a damn about Smoke and Stack. They didn't give a damn about that white woman. They wanted Sammy.
Right.
And so if Sammy would have took his ass and kept righteous instead of go ahead and follow the gangsters that want to be a part of this nightlife, everybody would have survived. The juke joint would have been one of the illest juke joints ever. We'd have been talking about it in history.
Okay.
Well,
Okay. So you're saying the influence on, because of the influence on Sammy from Smoke and Stack, it kind of like the downfall of the community happened because they weren't good, I guess, like stopgaps and saying like, hey, we did this, but you don't do it. One of those things where they tell you, like we'll sell this shit, but you don't be in the street.
No, so what it is that so you sort of right. So the thing is that you cannot tell people. I think this is another part that people missed in the movie, right? You cannot tell people to do as I say, not as I do. Because that's what Smoke tried to do with the little cousin. And that's why he pulled the gun out on him. He said, no, this gangster shit is for me.
Right.
You need to take your ass back to your daddy and sing the gospel music. And he said, well, I ain't going to do it, so you might as well kill me there. He said, I'm a soldier, boy. You don't give me an order. He pulled that thing out on him.
Right.
So you must have been a Buffalo soldier.
If you really don't want your youngins, if you really don't want the youngins to follow you, you got to do. You cannot tell them, hey, I'm this, and you got to do something else because they are not. They're going to follow what they see. And what he's seen was that his big cousins was lit. Everybody was up. Like even the little girlfriend that he wound up eating the vagina. She said, that's your real cousin. That's your play cousin. That's your real cousin. Because you don't act like them.
That's Perline. And what you're saying now makes sense because if the girl was a hooker, Mary, and Stack was her pimp, and then he taught him how to have sex, which makes me think about like Bootsy and having his 14-year-old son have sex. It's like I'm trying to put everything together, just kind of compiling. Like, okay, I see what you and Dia are saying, but I'm just like, I just want enough space where I just need for Grace and for Mary to have a little bit of accountability. I don't think you get to be a guest in a space and become dangerous. That's not right, Sharon. That's not right.
It's up to the black person because now look, the juke joint was supposed to be a safe space for black people.
Right.
And so now as the proprietors of that juke joint, if you letting in non-black people, when we know what can happen, right? Even at the train station, Stack was telling Mary, hey, like, not out here. And so you let her in, you already agreeing that, hey, something could go wrong.
Okay, he went out.
Yeah. So just like he was telling Stack, like Smoke was telling Stack when he was saying let him in. What if somebody spills something on them or look at his woman too long? Any little thing can cause a major problem. So now if you know this, you're responsible for who you letting in and not letting in.
Right.
So ultimately it is their responsibility. But I wanted to go back to Sammy and him had he, chosen righteousness and used his voice for the church. Like Sammy's choice was, I guess, the choice that all black people are presented with, right? Try to get yours in the here and now or wait until the afterlife, right? Because his father chose the church. His father was righteous, but God and Christianity and the church ain't keep his daddy or his daddy's family from none of the shit that the other black people was experiencing, right? They were still sharecroppers, having a very hard, meager existence, right? There was not. Go ahead, Rob. I see you come off mute. You ready to jump in on a movie that you ain't even watched?
Oh shit.
No, I don't have to watch the movie.
And so his choice was about getting his now. And so when he goes into the opening scene where he picking his cotton, go say hi to his mama, go in wherever it was that they lived, the little shack or house they lived, and open up the back, you see him looking off into the distance, basically wistfully wondering what's out there for me.
Not just the distance, Diva, it was a city too. The big major
Right.
city, whatever. Mhm.
Right. And so he did not want that life. And so he could have chosen that. But what good would, it be for him to have any type of talent if he chooses that life? Because he's still going to be scratching and scraping, trying to survive and going through all the bullshit that everybody else do. Christianity wasn't going to save him. And so he say, shit, I'll sell this soul or whatever. Because what good was a soul doing his daddy?
Yeah. When you say it like that, I think about like
And so
what's
my
the name
rebuttal.
of the guy that's the gospel singer, Donnie McClurkin, like where people really try to commit and live that life, and they do seem so unhappy, even with like, material wealth, but just they don't seem grounded and satisfied with the life that they're living. That promise of heaven is forever. Like, nah, I'll take my heaven now.
So, but here's the thing. So the also problem is that but his daddy didn't have the talent that he had. So we don't know if he would have kept it righteous where that talent would have took him.
Yeah, we do, because it was plenty of people singing in the church at that time who had the same fate.
Yeah, but they didn't have. But that's the thing. They didn't have the talent that he had, right? So like,
that's where all of the singers come from, the church.
No, but the way how they was depicting his voice, right, is that every time he sang, he brought people in.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
his voice was bringing people in. He even brought the devil and the angels all at the same time. He brought everybody in.
Right. But that's the hallmark of Black gospel singers, right? That's where all the singers, the real singers, come from. They come out of the church, and they all have that choice to make. Do I continue singing for God in anonymity, or do I go out here and get it? Right.
That's what I was alluding to, Siobhan.
What is it? Marvin Gaye, his daddy was a preacher. You got Al Green. Really, I think any of our talents, it's been rooted in deep religion. Even with Michael Jackson, they're not Pentecostals. What are they? 7-day event? They're
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Jehovah. But and with Aretha Franklin. So James Cleveland.
R.L. Franklin, her father. But see, what I was alluding to earlier, that same thing was impressed upon me. That's the reason why my whole love for music and wanting to get into music, that's what it came from. I was told that it's simple music, it's worldly music, and so forth and on. So I just lost interest in it just totally because I was conflicted with what I was raised to believe as it relates to religion and God and all that, the devil and the hell and all that shit. Right. But I don't know. I guess a movie will parallel life depending on how you look at it based on your experience.
It's a really good movie, and I like what you just said, Diva, and I like what Raja said. And my question is, I guess for the panel, where do we think we are emotionally and mentally, that if a piece of you, like I love blues and Southern music and I like to dance, but there is a part where we were taught like this is not chastened behavior. So what happens to a people who the essence of who you really are, you never really lean into it because you're wrapped up in religiosity. I'm just wondering, like, where would we be if we came up out of that?
So I think the real problem is that it's attached to too much degenerate behavior is the issue.
Yeah.
It's attached to hoeing, it's attached to gangster shit, it's attached to liquor, it's attached to drugs, it's attached to shooting people in the street, it's attached to police, and is attached to all these other negative things. That's the real issue of it. And that's what his father was saying earlier. You wanna go ahead and play for people that is sweating all day, spending their money instead of hanging out with their goddamn family. That's what he told him. He said, "Hey, I'm here hanging out with you and your brothers and sisters, while they out there sweating, drinking goddamn alcohol, dancing, and they leaving their wife at home." It also was depicting how black men ain't never been goddamn faithful.
Whoa!
Oh wow!
I mean, that was another part of the movie that people like. It was very deep in relationship, even though I know people trying to get caught up in just strictly the racism and the vampires. The vampires is probably the smartest part of the movie, to be honest.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. So what you just said right there, though, in making those choices, do we really have a community that's established that really allows the best choices to be made? And I'm really like, if I'm in my own biasness, like I can hear and how Diva picked up on some of the things and how you seem to really be wanting to put the onus on the man, I'm like, okay, we need to revisit this because there's probably some mammon that needs to be reprogrammed. But it's also
and that's the problem. The reason why we get so caught up in the degenerate shit is because at the end of the movie, at the end of the day, Michael B. Jordan plays a very good villain, because he was literally the villain of 2 powerful black movies. Black Panther, he was the goddamn villain, but you love this character because that motherfucker said, hey, drop me in the ocean, bro. I ain't going in this bitch without a fight. We love that shit. Yeah. But he was the goddamn villain. He was trying to take his goddamn cousin.
Killmonger wasn't a villain. Killmonger really was the essence of
absolutely a villain, but
it's
okay. It's okay. Like, he was the villain, but we love him because of everything that he represents, bucking back. And he wasn't a villain.
We gotta dissect this shit. I ain't seen it, but I know.
The problem is that
Killmonger is not a villain.
He was absolutely a villain, just that he was right. He was just correct about his assessment.
Killmonger is not N-O-T, not. He's not the bad guy. He is a protagonist, but he is still very much, he was a, you know what Killmonger is? Killmonger to Black Panther is what Trump is to the United States right now. One is a symptom. One is a symptom of what has happened. Killmonger was a symptom of being dropped off, left pissed off, mad, and went back mad as hell. Trump is a reception of, we don't want none of you niggas in charge, and we damn sure ain't gonna let no black bitch in charge, and we will burn this motherfucker down. And they showed us that too in the movie when they came back in the Klan and was spitting and was ready to burn it down, because that's what whiteness does.
Crazy.
Okay, we talking now. We talking about religion.
So hold on. And so also what I'm gonna say is that he plays such a good villain that we actually believe that he's a hero. That's how good he is. That's how good. You play the villain long enough, we actually think that you the hero. Same thing happened with Thanos. Everybody looking at, the Avengers are the actual villain, and Thanos was trying to clean up the world. We get it. When you do it good enough, because at the end of the movie, like I'm saying, at the end of the movie, when he pulled out that goddamn Tommy gun and he started letting those KKK have it, even though I have felt that they was wrong for destroying our community by luring all these black folks in by using a hard-earned cotton picking money, even goddamn wooden nickels, for God's sakes. They even have real fucking money. And he didn't even want to take the wooden nickels. He's like, fuck that. What you mean wooden nickels? We want American dollars is what we want. And so with all that, he was the villain. Well, however, when he picked up that Tommy gun, he put 2 hands on that shit and he like,
you love that shit, don't you, Sharon?
I loved it. I was like, yeah.
See, that's the role I would have played.
Hey, look, I scared the people that was sitting next to me. They was like, oh shit.
Is he having a poltergeist over in this moment?
He really man. You really like that, Sharon? Because I was just like, when he did it, I was like, this was a waste.
Shit, I would have been shooting the motherfucking vampire as soon as they wouldn't have to even get into the town.
So he didn't shoot the vampire. He was shooting.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, if we parallel this to real society, I think this is my opinion. As a people in the Americas, with our traditions, our this pseudo shit with the theology and theocracy and religion and all that, we're gonna forever be having these questions.
It's spherical.
It's spherical because we haven't got down. We don't know what some of us do, and some of us are trying to get back there. There's always a source we're trying to get back to. But with this pseudo culture, which we call Black culture in America, we're always going to be in struggle or off the defensive or offensive mode. Why? Because the system in and of itself is corrupt, debased, and illegitimate, in my humble opinion.
I'm lost.
Well, basically this. Okay, I give it to you like this.
So bad.
I believe this.
We got it, Hotel. We heard you.
Okay. I want to, because when I say something, people act like I'm saying something so foreign. But I believe that as long as racism, white supremacy exists as the real undergirding of America's
The under what?
society,
The under what?
the foundation or or how the three branches of government move indirectly, indirectly, or in unison, we as a people are always going to be asking ourselves these questions, whether it's in a goddamn Marvel movie, a movie like this, or in real society. When we juxtapose this of shit that we all, or some of us, experience living
Okay.
in black communities of the hood, this is the result of it.
Okay, and so I think the reason why I brought up Killmonger and brought in Marvel into it, because this movie, you know, I cannot confirm this, but however, it was pitched as a Blade origin movie.
Really?
And I think Marvel fucked up, because this would have been phenomenal to push out the next level of Blade. They messed up big time on this.
Yeah, I love that Blade shit.
So
they could have Marshawn in this.
No, Marshawn wouldn't have been in, because Marshawn would have been
the Blade. But
right, he would have been the Blade, right? So because Blade is somebody that could walk in the daytime, and clearly Stacks
Daywalker.
Stacks couldn't.
He couldn't walk.
Matter of fact, I saw a Daywalker yesterday.
But they still could do this though. This can still track.
Yeah,
it can still track. And I mean the numbers,
but it don't seem like they're gonna. It seems like they already canceled the Blade movie. So,
it's not canceled.
Regardless, I think they dropped the ball big time with this. However, the problem is that we tend to miss out the important facts that we don't need more gangsters. We need to stop having gangsters as the goddamn heroes of our neighborhoods.
No, we don't need no more gangsters. I agree with you.
Wait.
We need some damn soldiers, though. We need some damn soldiers.
That because
I was no
say, because Sharon, so we're talking about right now in the movie and how timely it is. So I'm listening to what you're saying, right? And I'm thinking about have you seen the guy? Diva can fix me. I know I'm gonna say it wrong, but I think his last name is Torah Ikram. They're in Africa. He's the leader that
Ibrahim Torre. Torre.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I'm looking at him, and I really don't like when we have quote unquote leaders, because that's easy to kind of put people out. But to see how he's moving in righteousness and to see how he's able to what he's built in less than 3 years, I see what you're talking about. As long as like Black men are being righteous and making decisions that are good for the community, I think it's a good thing. And I think that we can use it, change, and grow from here. I think that I personally believe everything that you see is purposeful and it happens for a reason. And for me, when I see sinners, what I see is like the kind of like the warning of the Black community is in a rebuilding process. And as we rebuild, we're really going to have to look at what does allyship look like? What do we need to do in partnership? And then what is the commitment that we have to each other as like humans and as a community to not bring in vampires, to not bring in the Marys? Because even at this point, if that girl was a hoe, even if the vampires never came and she was a hoe, she was going to cause some problems eventually, because a hoe gonna hoe.
Because of hoe tendencies and hoe behavior.
Right. Right.
Yeah, well, Perlene was a hoe too.
Wait, now, goddamn, why is
I mean, you seen her doing the tiger walk across the stage and all that. You know what I mean?
She was.
All right, so let's not dive into that relationship, right? So I thought this movie was great at pushing out a lot of different relationships, and I think it is, and I think that's important. So yeah, Perlene was a goddamn hoe too.
She was a Jezebel. Yes.
Okay, I think they were it was like they were casting a spell when those three people first came to get into the club or whatever. And again, we seen what's the name bopping his head, but nobody else. My whole thing was, I don't care if they was putting on the show, but were you listening to the words? They're talking about picking this boy bones clean and stuff. I'm like, I don't care how good they playing that guitar or how good they sound together. I automatically with just these words like, what in the devil? You know?
Yeah,
so almost casting a spell of some sort, you know, of course, any trying to trick to get invited in, rather, right?
Right.
But my favorite part of the end, it wasn't that shooting thing. It was when he sat there and he was reminiscing. Like it showed them gathering, like how they got it together. Everybody coming together, cleaning the veggies and all that, preparing for the night. That was my favorite scene of the whole movie, when he's reminiscing on the part of the day that they didn't show earlier that day. You know what I mean? That took place before the juke joint actually opened. Yeah.
Right, and so that, and that was the main thing too, right? The music is the devil, and so even though we understand that the vampire wasn't the devil never actually showed up. We only could speculate that he showed up at the end of the credit scenes, and he granted the old musician the talent. Is kind of what is what it's kind of shaping up to be. But also the vampire, he also told on the white folks too, because if he would have never said, hey, regardless of these other two vampires that I got next to me, they was coming down here to shut your shit down regardless. So and technically I saved your black ass. That's another thing that he kind of pointed out.
Do you think so let me ask you this then. Two things. One, is the answer give up your culture and assimilate? Because that's essentially what's like, we're here with peace and love. The vampire, he was offering peace and love. Assimilation.
Hell no.
And then the other option is, what do you do with a community where if 2 out of the 3 women are 304s?
What you mean 2 out of the 3?
But you're not finna make, you damn sure not finna make no, you're not finna do that, not to my good sis.
What she was doing for 7 years, huh?
She was going to the back praying over the baby. She was making her roots. She was a businesswoman.
All right, go ahead.
So my question to you is like, at what's the choice? And it just doesn't seem like there was a good alternative. And then
they fell prey to the technology, the necromancy, and that's what happened. I said the necromancy. You're talking about picking bone. I mean, that's what vampires do. That's what necromancers do. They from the dead. So that's what necromancers do. They defile the divine.
Do you not think that he was the devil though, Sharon? Because that's what I wanted to ask. You said something, but I'm like, did you not realize when we first saw Brimwick, when he dropped, we saw him drop and he was on fire and was running to the white people's house. I think that, are you saying you processed it like he was running from the Choctaw and got to the white folks? Because I did think he was like Satan, like a fallen angel.
No, because he had the ability to fly. That's why he fell.
Well, why he didn't get his ass up in the air and shake some of them flames off?
He tried, but see, the Choctaw, they knew how to fight him. So even though he had all the powers that he was running away from them. He didn't try to.
They had the skill sets too. Oh, okay.
Right. So they understood how to fight him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was running away, and even though he tried to fly away, whatever they did, they probably shot whatever they shot, because they good with those bow and arrows. They had guns, they had all those things. And he was burning up because the sun was coming up, and that's the main reason why they left is because they know that you can't fight them at nighttime.
Yeah, I know you guys all seen the old movie, Black.
So because that's the first thing he said. He said, "Hey, it's getting dark." So even though they knew how to kill him, they knew that they couldn't fight him at night.
Right. Yeah. And I have day walkers knock on my door. Matter of fact, trying to sell me solar panels yesterday, and started sticking my dog on his ass. But I knew he was a day walker.
So what? Was it his?
Well, I do think Happy made a very good point about the song "Casting a Spell."
It was.
Somebody asked you, Diva, about it says, Diva, please break down the correlation between vampires reciting the Lord's Prayer and the body of Christ in Jesus rituals. Ooh, yes, please. I know you go. What you mean?
The body of Christ in what? Yes. Jesus rituals?
Yes, ma'am. Let me do it again. I'm sorry. I'm gonna scroll up. Because it was when I saw it, I was like, ooh, yes. Okay, it's from Marcus White. It says, Diva, please break down the correlation between vampires reciting the Lord's Prayer and the body of Christ, blood of Jesus rituals.
What the hell? That's a good question.
Well,
That's a good question.
so it's symbolic vampirism, right? Because when you drink
Yep.
the grape juice or either the wine, if you go to the white folks' church, that's what you're doing, like ingesting somebody's blood.
That's necromancy.
Is
I
vampirism.
mean, not necromancy, but
Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead, Rob. You explained it to him. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, basically necrophilia. So if you look at based according to the story that God created the angels, He created Satan. Satan supposedly, or Lucifer, was the archangel, the chief angel of all angels. Even in heaven, he caused discourse between the angels.
So
he
now,
was seeking power.
hold on. What that got to do with the question at hand?
Well, the question at hand is this. That question is a broad question. If you're looking at it from a theological standpoint, that's one thing.
So the problem is you didn't see it, so that's why it wasn't a broad question, and that's why she was breaking it down, and you interrupted.
Well, I'll let somebody. Okay, so go ahead and whoever saw the movie, break it down from the movie scene. If that's what you're talking about.
You want to focus on something else that has nothing to do with the imagery that we've seen.
We're gonna have to talk off me and you, Bracy, because I detect something. But go ahead, sir.
Diva,
I'll mute my mic.
It's okay, Diva. I do think everybody wants to hear your point of view from that, though. I know I want to hear it.
No, I want Rod to finish saying what he was saying.
You go ahead and take it, Diva.
No. I want to hear. I want you to finish saying what you were saying, Rod. Go ahead, because I was trying to figure out. I don't know what necromancy means, so I was gonna follow up and ask you to like kind of define it and explain it. So go ahead.
Well, necromancy is like casting spells.
Slap the taste out of your mouth. I'd like to see it.
God damn! Can you see it? That's
$500.
That means
absolutely. I don't want that old motherfucker so many different times. Shut your old ass up. He won't let a bitch get a word out with his ass. So now, nigga, go talk to yourself in that room you be posted up in for the in perpetuity. That's what I'm looking for.
Salute.
So you've been baptized, sir. That is for
I want to just say I'm so glad to be a black woman right now, because when they come up here and be flexing with them dollars, when I tell you my chest be sticking out proud, I'm like, shut these motherfuckers down with that money. That's what them degrees do. You see what that degree just did? That PhD diva?
She tried to let him live. She really did. Like
500. And she just said, here you go, nigga. Real valuable, real cute.
She really tried to let it live. And by the way, it's at bye, nigga. Shit. God, look at Jalen. Why you look like that? Look at Jalen.
He get on my damn nerves, and I tried with him today.
You did.
I tried.
You was letting him rock. I was like, oh, all right. I was like, maybe he'll survive. I was like, but clearly the spiritual, the economical, and the spiritual.
Oh, he was pissing me off too. Shit. That's why you didn't hear me breathing hard. I was like, oh man, come on.
Silent getting frustrated.
Not Silent getting frustrated. Damn. You gonna piss off Silent too? No shit.
How you gonna come and talk all the movies that you never saw? I was like, come on.
Right, and okay, so he could talk about that a movie that he never saw, but if you're going to do it, then talk about the subject at hand, what we are communicating. Let Diva finish her full thought, so this way we could break down what Diva is saying, and then say, hey, we still having a conversation, not just talking about the necromancer stuff. You know, the necromancer.
Oh damn! Look at that.
Necromancy is when you have sex with a dead body.
Right, but so again, ask your question again, Tiff, and maybe now Diva
that's necrophilia.
Yes,
necromancer is bringing the dead back to life.
Yeah, which was also it was a part of the movie, right? Because Smoke kept trying to ask Anne.
Was there a resurrection?
No, but he kept asking for one.
They always resurrected, right? Who got bit because they died and then they came back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. That's a demon, though.
What's up, y'all?
Hey, DMU. I'm muting for sure. You got it, Diva.
What up, black man?
Hey, so I didn't. Yeah. So PhD was the one I came up here for anyway. So PhD when because she knows our history. So if we didn't, I don't think y'all talked about. I've been listening, but been going in and out. But
Even 1 second while he being rude, because I also not only know my history, it's not been a thing up here that I've not been able to correlate.
No, Tiff. No. Hold on, Tiff. I wasn't. There wasn't no shot at you, sweetheart. I'm talking about from past stuff. Like PhD would been doing this for a long time. There wasn't no shot at you,
baby. When I tell you the way I was finna rip your neck off, like you, like I was.
Oh my God.
I was finna be Rimlick, and you was finna be old girl. I was finna rip your motherfucking neck off. But okay, you got it.
And speaking of Remick, that's what I was about to say, PhD. When it came to Remick, did we really listen to what Remick was saying and why he wanted? Because he was attracted to, I can't forget name. I forgot the boy's name again. What's the guitar player's name?
Sammy.
He was attracted to Sammy's music because the music was like a line between life and death. It drawed in dead spirits and it drawed in living spirits. Like it brought everything together.
Right.
And so you remember when Remick was talking about how he lost his wife and how he was oppressed in Ireland when the British took over and took his daddy's farm and made him pick potatoes and stuff. Did you hear when he was telling this story? How he was oppressed?
Mm-hmm.
So he said, I was oppressed. He said, even the man that sold you this building is coming here in the morning to kill you.
Right.
He said, so I need you to join me. He wanted Sammy to be like him because he was a musician playing an instrument, and he was drawn to Sammy because Sammy was very powerful in his music, and he wanted to bring everybody together for one cause against their oppressors. So what Remick was doing it in a way of demonic way because he was evil. He was a vampire.
Supposedly.
He was doing it in a very bad way. But that's why he wanted Sammy. And when he was dipping Sammy in the water, he was trying to get Sammy to understand that God cannot give you what I can give you. You're living to die to have eternal life when I can bite you and give you eternal life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what the baptism part was about. So Remick,
that though, if you can't see the sun or feel anything, so is he off for life? Or is
right,
he
but
existence?
Yeah, he wanted everybody that was oppressed. And the last thing, remember they had the bonfire and everybody was throwing their hands up. Mm-hmm. Go back and listen to the song, guys. They were singing the Irish. They were singing at the beginning. They were singing an Irish song that the oppressed Irish people wrote in oppression. They were singing that, and then it went into a whole nother song of a Negro spiritual right at the end when the beat sped up. You like, is that damn swing low, sweet chick? Wait a minute. So if you go back and listen to the bonfire, and you seen when they were all dancing, when they all turned everybody to vampires, you just listen to the music. And that's why I'm saying the movie was focused basically on how music brings people together. So that's the point that Remick was really trying to do. So Remick, if you watched Marvel, Remick was basically like Thanos.
Yes and no. I understand what you're trying to say.
No, he was. And that's
Yes,
what I wanted to bring in with. That's why I brought in Killmonger and Thanos into the conversation in the first place, because in reality, Remick was trying to free everybody from all the so-called racism and oppression, because he's giving you the power and y'all could all be together as one instead of having this whole core race situation and all that. So it's a weird thing.
Because it's a flattening, and that's the thing. I think it depends upon you as a person and how you like to identify ethnically. I'm a very proud Black woman. I have no desire to assimilate into whiteness. So when people talk about America being a melting pot, I can't stand it. I don't want to melt. I don't want to bend. I don't want to become one. I can do America the salad. A tomato is a tomato, a lettuce is lettuce, and each place is delicious and tasty because it's individual and has its own thing. But again, it goes back to when you tell people to assimilate and lose your culture versus learn how to be in community and just be kind human beings. One is different. Assimilation takes who you are and says whiteness is the standard, so we're going to be white, versus this is my standard, this is your standard. I see you, you see me, we do business, But beyond that, I don't have a desire to try to police another person, to try to tell you who to have sex with, how you should have it, who you should believe in. To me, that is the one part of whiteness that is, I've always found it intriguing. Like, I've never been like, hey, what's going on over there? What are you guys doing? There's a level of believing you have an entitlement to other people's business and or how they live that I, as a Black woman, I don't have it. I never want it, and I don't care. Leave me alone. I'll leave you alone.
And also, yeah, and you're right, Tiff. And I think that's what Remick was trying to do. Remick was basically saying, I was oppressed. I know what you've been through. And you know, and I'm telling you, I've been through the same thing you've been through on my side of the world. And if you go back, because he said he was oppressed, and that's what I was talking to PhD about. He was literally talking about something, so you could tell Remick was probably 300 years old,
Right.
because he said
More
it.
than
He
that.
said in his, yeah, more than that, right? When they were oppressed by the British, that was a long time before the 30s, and so you could tell he's been around a while. And he's like, I've looked at y'all, I've seen y'all get oppressed. He said, why do y'all still want to be under bondage of these people? He said, I can free you tonight. You can come with me, and we'll go kill all of them.
Right. He was saying, let's all get our get back, and that's why they didn't even recognize the gold that he had. It was so goddamn old.
Yep, and he said, let's go get them all. We're gonna kill them all. And so, you know, he was really saying, hey, I'm on your side, you on my side. I see what y'all been through, and that's what stopped him. And when he heard that music, can you imagine, just in another world, can you imagine Sammy and Remick together playing music together? What that could have done, bringing those people together, man, it would have been crazy in the movie world. Like in that movie.
It would have been Bob Marley, right? One
Man.
love.
Yep. It would, yeah, they would have drawn in a whole, but they would have had an army.
Let's.
He also said those are the
and
same
yes, I
oppressed
loved it.
the people that
I enjoyed it, MJ. My only problem with when I watch movies, I see too many things. Like, you know, this is why Tiff is like, and how you bring that, you know, so for me, sometimes it's very hard for me to actually watch a movie with so much symbolism in it. But it was well done because it didn't draw it out. I think that was the beauty of it. So it makes for a good conversation to see all those little nuances, like with Grace, right? And how she said, "Come on in, motherfuckers," and like that whole build up to her saying, "Come on in," was like because she was like, "Hey, why is it okay for you to be a soldier when they still one bottle of liquor, but they just killed your goddamn twin brother? I thought you said you love her."
Now, Sharon, that is bullshit. Sharon, that is bullshit what you said though, because think about it, Sharon. If me and you brothers, and I see a being outside with glowing red eyes flying across the building, jumping 30 fucking feet in the air, you shoot the bitch 10 times, he don't die. I mean, you got to come up with a plan. You can't just run out there fighting. You got to come up with a motherfucking plan. I don't know why you feel like you just gonna run out there and swing on this nigga. He gonna kill your ass.
Perfect.
So you got to come up with a plan.
They did have a plan. First, they ate the garlic. Then they made the garlic juice and the holy water and all that. They carved out the steaks. They knew how to kill them. You got to stab them in the heart. And when she opened up that door, what happened? They started killing goddamn vampires.
And they all died.
Well,
huh?
What you mean they all died?
Shit, the vampires killed all of them.
He did.
Well, the vampire killed all of them because
Sammy.
Right, not Sammy, and really not Smoke neither.
No, I think Smoke died. The when he
but the vampires he survived the night.
Yeah, because it root kept him alive.
He wanted that was very symbolic why he took off the protection necklace, but he kept his brother. I don't even know if y'all pay attention, but he took Stack's necklace off and he put it on him at the end of the movie.
Right. I did see that.
When he had the tank out, so he snatched off the protection one, but he had Stack's necklace on.
Dog collar. His dog tags.
So he's like, I'm going to get my get back. So Smoke was like, hey, because and plus Smoke, his character was kind of built on some more very stoic person.
Right. So let's go there, because what you just said, that is something we have not went down.
And Tiff, before you do that, Tiff, because I'm ready to hear what you have to say real quick, because I want to just say this, and then you can add it to what you're about to say. Even the names, Smoke and Stack, we know where that comes from.
A smokestack barbecue. You better go
No,
get
no, no, no. It comes from Smokestack Lightning by the blues singer Howlin' Wolf. Smokestack. If you ever seen Cadillac Records, Howlin' Wolf song Smokestack Lightning, and that's why he named the character Smokestack. And if you go look at Howlin' Wolf also was one of the people who sold his soul to the devil for his music.
No, he did not.
Can we
Yeah,
not?
bullshit.
That
Okay, I'm gonna
whole
send it to you
myth
right now.
came from selling yourself to the devil.
Hold on. So we can break that part down too. We can have a little sidebar with Holland Wolf. But also shout out to the couch that says, I liked, I shared, I tipped as always. Thank you so much. Beautiful. I really appreciate it.
Black Beauty.
So no, Holland Wolf, he was the one that said, you see this car, I bought this car. I did this, that, and the third. He was the one that was trying to go against the grain with the whole going with the corporation.
Right.
No. I'm talking about the real Howlin' Wolf.
Oh, okay.
Not the movie.
Okay, because you said Cadillac Records, so I thought you was referencing that. Okay. Fine.
I mean, I got where BMU was going, but BMU, my question, I guess, will be for everybody here. Who do you pick? Are you a Smoke or are you a Sammy? Let's say Smoke, Sammy, or Stack. Sammy in the sense of he's just novice and talented. Then you have Stack that I feel like he was more in the moment and kind of like he had a fun personality. And then you have Smoke where he seemed to be a little bit more serious, but also we got to see a little bit of intimacy with him in the way that he dealt with his lover. So where would you in a realm of, I don't want to say who's good or who's bad, who's less harmful to the community? Smoke, Stack, or Sammy?
Sammy was less harmful. But whoa, I spoke too quick. Because with the gift that Sammy had, if we look at it now, if we pay attention to the entire movie, including after the credits, Sammy used that gift for the wrong reasons. Come on now. He used it for the wrong place because Sammy sold his soul to the devil. He did.
You know what? I hear you, and maybe this is just religiosity. When they say sell your soul to the devil, I think a lot of it is making a choice of, I'm not going to sing quote unquote godly music. If you're making music that's secular, then technically you would have picked what? Worldly music. So it would have meant you would have not picked God, but it's not necessarily the devil. And that's the thing that I want us to just have a little bit more nuance, because I don't think it's that simple. To me personally, I like the choice that Sammy made, because if the choice is I'm going to be in church and quote unquote do the right thing, but be miserable, versus this is what I love, this is what I feel like I am on this planet to do. Clearly, I moved a vampire and all kind of people with my voice. I want to use my voice the way I want to use my voice, because this is when it's authentic. So to me, my thing is like, are you going to take that voice and make it small and stomp it out so that it's palatable? Or are you going to allow this voice to just be and have its experience and see what comes from that?
Right. Without a soul. See? So what's the difference between the vampire biting them and taking their soul and the devil making a deal with you and taking your soul? With one of them you live forever, the other one you die eventually.
I don't think you're living if you're not dying, though. Maybe that's the thing. Like, I don't have a fear of death. Like, I would not be happy if I couldn't feel the sun. I would not be happy if my entire existence is running from the sun, needing to get fluid from a different being and potentially turning people into some shit that I'm not necessarily really even settled with. So for me personally, I get why Annie was like, yo, take me out. Because I'm damn sure going to be like, if it's me live forever, but never feel warmth, never feel love, always be compromised, and always have to flip and turn people, I would rather die and have my soul rest. I'm not one of those people.
Let me just so we can keep building, but we are going now to go over to the other channel, the brand new channel. So please press new in the in the thing. It was sent you to where we gotta go, so we could go ahead and build up that channel so we get to 500 subs. And you there?
Ain't nothing but so